Well, hello everybody. Good evening. And let's see if anybody can see my stream. Let's just check. I'm going to run it here in the background. Let's see. All right, let's see if it's loading. Oh. All right, well, good evening, everyone. Can you all hear me? I think you can. I think the audio is coming through. How's everybody tonight? What do we got? We got so far one person in the stream. Okay. Oh no, we got a couple of people in the stream. Hello, hello. How is it? Oh, we got five. All right, everyone's kind of trickling in now. Good evening, everybody. Hello, Joe Lynch. Hello, Just Nate. Hello, Electric Buzz. Great Dane. Dane. Oh, I'm gonna butcher your name. Goloski? Ah, boy, I hope that's correct. Anyways, good evening, everyone. How is everyone doing this evening? All right. Yeah. Last time we had an issue. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn off the running it from a computer. I'm going to run it directly from my iPad because it seemed to interfere with the speed and the processing time. So let's see if that's a little bit better. And I'm going to work off of my iPad and see if that just works better. Hopefully it will. Hello, Joe Lynch. Joe Lynch, how are you? Drewby Tunes, welcome, welcome. All right, so it's looking a little fuzzy again tonight, so let's see. We did do the restart of the router. All right, let's see if that clears it up and gets a little better bandwidth through. Still not looking great, so I do apologize about that. That's kind of a bummer. Let's see if what we can do to get that to be a little bit better. So how's everybody doing tonight anyways? Kids are in the bath. All right, have to give the kids a bath. I'll be here listening and then be back to chat soon. No problem. Just Nate, you take care of the kids, get them bathed. I had 3 boys. I remember when I had to do that with the oldest and then the twins. That was always fun doing 2 at a time. It was double the fun and double the trouble. I don't know how many kids you have, but hopefully it'll be fun. Hello, Electric Buzz. Welcome this evening. How are you? I'm going to try to see if I can change the signal here real quick. Let me, it might interrupt my feed, might interrupt me talking, but I'm going to try to reconnect and see if that helps. Oh yeah, that's much better. Yeah, that's much clearer. I don't know about you guys. The feed I'm getting now, it looks like it's crystal clear. You can see everything here really well. Great. Yeah, thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. I figured that the connection wasn't as good as it could be, so there we go. All right, awesome, awesome. Well, welcome everybody this evening. We are doing a, talking knives, but we're going to be doing a giveaway. So I'll probably be doing that just a little bit, start talking about it, but just wanted to welcome everybody. We've got 10 people here. How is everybody's evening? How was your weekend? What did you all do this week? Anything exciting? Any exciting new knife news for yourselves? Any new knives coming into your collection? Any new knives that maybe you modified? Anything that you are looking to hunt down? How is the knife journey and the knife hunt going? I call it a hunt, or I don't know, the expedition. I kind of liken it to that because you get to find something really cool. there is a little bit of a delay from my talking to when I see your responses. So if I wait a little bit, I'm just waiting. Waiting on the Devo Growler. Okay, very good. Now, is that the one that was after the mash that Lefty was talking about? Oh, you got the Chavez kickstop. You know, see, that's the Chavez one. I have, the aesthetics hasn't lured me in, and I'll tell you why. It's not because it's not a quality knife, not because it's beautiful and everything, because most of them I only see as one option to flip. And so if it only has one option to flip, it's got to be amazing. And I don't know if it is, but I've heard with that new kickstop, it is. There's another one out there with a kickstop, that the Orzo or something like that, I believe, that was supposed to be pretty amazing as well. But I would need to handle it, and I haven't had a chance to do that yet. I would love to see if I could get a sample or something to try, but you know, I'm a small channel, so that's few and far in between. If I'm going to do that, I have to make the investment, and if I'm going to make the investment, it's a big, you know, it's a big commitment on my part, right? All right, so you got the hello, Antony, and James Dean. Welcome. Hello, Electric Buzz. I don't think I said hello to you, Electric Buzz, but the Diva Growler we talked about, but I didn't say hello to James Dean, even though we talked about his kickstop. Joe Lynch, you received the Civivi Quibbit. Okay, it's a fun knife. All right, I'm gonna have to check that out. I've heard some things about that. It's very light, fidgety, and slicey. Okay, so that's interesting. I'm gonna have to look that one up. That's really cool. You know, I'm gonna try to see, because I like to be able to use my iPad for the giveaways. So let me see if I can connect again, and if it doesn't mess up the image, if I've got a good connection, so I can actually look at the chat on my monitor here. That way I can multitask, if you will. So I'm gonna do that and see if that works out okay. Yeah, the image looks good. Doesn't look like it's messing up. There's the chat. Okay. All right. The reason why I want to do that is because I don't have a fancy setup yet. I would like to get there, but I would very much like to have the dual monitor where I can go look at something and show it to you while I'm looking. I think that would be really cool. All right, so let's see here. The DevoMash 2.0, you got the blue one. Very good. Oh, you got a giant mouse, Ace Atelier. Atelier? I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but that's cool. You had the green Damascus for the Civivi. That's cool. All right, cool. I wanted to look that one up, the Quibi. That definitely looks interesting. And it's your third Chavez. All right, so it's a heavy knife. The kickstop has a fidget friendly action. Okay. See, I wasn't sure if it was going to be in my wheelhouse and my aesthetic. That was the thing that I was concerned about, because, you know, you know, I don't buy knives just for the sake of the channel, because I'm not reviewing as like a full-time job. This is, you know, hey, it could turn into that down the road, right? If people want me to review stuff, I'd be happy to do that. But at this case, you know, I'm sharing my knife journey and my experiences for things that I buy, because it's my dollars going into these knives. But if I were to have the opportunity to try one out, I would definitely do that. I mean, for instance, just be honest with you, Rocky let me take a look at that Kapara from Spyderco, and I was blown away how nice that was. And that changed my mind on a knife that I probably would never have looked at. So it's definitely on my wheelhouse or in my radar for maybe acquisitions. So I would love to be able to have that experience with the Chavez. I just don't know if it's that for me or not. So your Exciton. Oh, Matt, you got your Exciton? Yeah, I really like this knife, and I already put some Lynch. I already put some Skiff washers in it, and it's even better. Now, mine was a little dirty, and it was a little gritty, and so I did take it apart, and I've actually got a video to release on it. And this integral backspacer made it really easy to take apart, especially with the spring, and that spring in there is very robust. It's a really hardy spring, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why it has such a strong resistance and gives you a nice, good deployment. Yeah, that whole kickstop thing has really got me interested, because I've heard about the kickstop in there. dead air. Can you not hear me? Wait, hold on. Let me see if folks can't hear me. Is that the case? Can you not hear my audio? Oh, you do hear me. Okay, all right. All right, I heard dead air, so I wasn't sure. I don't know if Joe Lynch was talking to me or what. Maybe I was waiting for a second for a response. Oh, okay, okay. I just I just wanted to make sure you all could hear me. All right. Okay, just for a second. Well, maybe it disconnected. But the image is really solid. It's clear and crystal clear, so I don't see any interruption. Ah, that's weird. Okay. I do pause for a second to read some of the things and try to wait for a response. I know it's like a 5-second delay, so that's the case. Now the front door is making a lot of noise as people are walking in because we have a lot of rain recently, and so the frame has expanded, and we have to kind of pull it shut a little harder. As soon as it dries out, it's way too wide. So that's the joy of living in a high moisture area. So if you hear the banging in the background, that's the door being shut for my family walking in and out. My office is right by the front door. So sorry about that. Hopefully you can't hear it. The image is blurry on your screen. So I'm looking at the image myself, and I'm going to put my hand up here just to kind of make sure this is yeah. The image still looks pretty clear on my side. So we've got a nice clear image this time around. When we first started the broadcast, or the broadcast live stream, it was bad. And so I disconnected and reconnected, and then it came back really nicely. And so far it's looking like a good signal is going out. I will say, at least, does everybody else have a pretty good image as well? I know, Matt, you said it was much better at the start for you. Okay. Looks good. Okay, yours is good. All right, good. All right. All right. Yeah, I do know in the beginning it was not great. And I also know that YouTube, if you don't have a good connection, so at home I have 2 routers, right? I have different access points. I used to do the mesh, but my mesh wasn't working as well, so I changed it up and reconfigured it. And if you're connected to the 2.4 or you're a little far away and the bandwidth and the packets aren't coming through very clearly, it will downgrade the quality of the image automatically. So I know for myself, being downstairs, I went upstairs earlier. I think I was connected to the upstairs router. And so coming downstairs, I had to disconnect and reconnect to the downstairs router. I have the Asus Mesh, and it wasn't working as nicely as I would like, and I was having some issues with it, and so I just reconfigured it to stop it because everyone was complaining upstairs about it. So it works better if you go up there and then, you're fine. All right, so just got dropped off by the mail lady just right now, Dave. Okay, so you haven't even opened it, or are you opening it now? Yeah, I will tell you, just before this, I opened this thing. I don't know if you all know what this is. And I haven't even had a chance to tune it, to polish it, or to do anything that I would do typically with a Axis lock. So this is my Benchmade. And after I tune this, I can get this now to drop shut, right? You can just, it easily drops, shuts, and then opens and closes very easily. And that is a matter of just polishing the phosphor bronze washers. And you get it nice and perfectly centered, and it just beautiful. So I'm going to do that with this. I know some people have had some issues, but I know what typically to do. You take the phosphor bronze washers out, you polish them on a strop, get them nice and even and polished, and then you can kind of lubricate some of the other things, and that tends to really help it. Oh, it helps if you hit play. It was on pause? Okay, I got you. Well, you were listening to the conversation, but it wasn't moving, huh? So if I had done anything here, you wouldn't have seen it. Okay, I got you. I've done that before. I've done that where I left and I came back to a podcast, I mean a live stream, and I'm going, man, that looked like they're talking about the same thing, and it turns out that I had been on pause, and I was like 10, 15 minutes behind. So I've got to open a little bit later. Sounds good. Yeah. All right. So I think I caught up on most of the things. So Sean Thomas, I don't know if I said hello. Broke AZ Knives, welcome. I don't think I said hello to you yet. Matt, I think I said hello. Leela, I don't think I said hello, so welcome, Leela. Matt, if I didn't say hello, I'll say hello. James Dean, I think I said hello, but I'm not sure, but I'll say hello again. Knife Life EDC, I don't think I said hello, but I'll say hello. Who else am I missing? Antonia, I did say hello. I know Drooby Tunes, I did say hello. Electric Buzz, I said hello. Let's see, am I forgetting? Brett, hello, welcome. Emily Lee, welcome, welcome. Who else do we have here? And Dane Gavriliski. Gavriliski, I think I'm saying that correctly or close to. Rocky, welcome. Bourbon Tacos. All right, bourbon tacos. That sounds good. Kind of is it like a bourbon, like a fried flavor of the tacos, or is it bourbon meat? Maybe some of the fajita meat is cooked in bourbon. That sounds really good. Yes, my smock. Oh, how did my so I didn't finish doing the clip. It was going to take a lot of effort, so I haven't had a chance to finish the clip. I did get new screws for it, and these are all fresh screws, so I like that. I will go back to it eventually. It is going to be a long effort. So what he's asking about, this is a Metten Boss scales. I bought them from Metten Boss. You can get them on Etsy. He also, a lot of other folks, I know Neves Knives and Metal Complex, and a lot of them get their scales from him, and he does some fantastic work. But their clips aren't my favorite, right? And they're really thick. And I had to literally bend it up so it's a little bit off to get it on and off comfortably because the bottom of it is flat. Well, I was rounding the base of it, and that worked out well, but I want to thin out the back spacer part so it has a little bit of bend. Like, see how this bends right here? I need my clip to bend for it to be really nice, and then it'll match what the rest of the scale is. But this is a Lynch clip. It is titanium, and it is, I think, stone wash, so it kind of matches together here. It looks okay. It's not a perfect match, but it works. It's nice aesthetic. I did get rid of the red screws because some of them were stripped and they weren't holding really well, and I didn't have all the screws back there, and they were a little bit thicker. So they stood up a lot more, and there was a lot less room to clear for the clip to get in my pocket, and that was bothering me to get it in and out. So that's what that is. Citrus pork tacos. Tacos, Law's bourbon to drink. Oh, yeah, there you go. Nice, nice. He is eating nice. Last night I made some really delicious steak burgers. So you take some sirloin and you ground it up, and then I put some eggs, I put some different spices, and then I mix it in with a little bit of breadcrumb just to kind of get it all together. What that does, it creates an incredibly juicy burger. Typically, everyone always complains because it always drips all over them, which is the best kind of burger, honestly. And then we have some fresh avocado, some lettuce, tomatoes, bacon, all that stuff. Really nice. So we had that last night. I think we had it on pretzel dough hamburger buns or something like that. I haven't made steak in a couple of weeks, so I think I need to do that. That sounds good. Yeah, the smock screws are really easy to strip. I believe they're all T6s, which is never fun. But I got on Etsy, the Screw For You, he had a whole bunch of new screws, and these worked out really nicely. And they were only 18 bucks for a full set, which to me is not bad, and looks so much better. So all those other screws that I stripped, this makes it just so much nicer and looks nicer, when they're not screwed. So yeah, I know, Electric Buzz, I am hungry too. I usually don't get to eat dinner before this. I have to eat after because it runs kind of late, right? So, all right, so let's see here. Bourbon tacos, I like the Tactile Maverick. Yes, the Tactile Maverick. It is nice. Like I said, I need to finish working on it because if you notice, it doesn't drop really nicely. So my Benchmade, that's phosphor bronze, right? So it drops really nicely, but I've worked this in and broken it in, and I polished it. This one, it doesn't quite do that. You kind of have to give it a little push to get it down. But it works. It does work. And I have some other Omega springs, and if they're the same as those, they're harder or firmer Omega springs. And I have noticed that some people complained that it was a little soft in the detent, but the thing about Axis Lock, most of them aren't very strong. Now, granted, the Pulsar, when I first got this, it was super weak. So I put in the heavy duty springs the Omega springs that came with it, and that made a huge difference. So I'm thinking I might put those stronger springs if they fit on this one, just to see how that's going to work. But I do need to break that in and polish the phosphor bronze washers, and then polish probably the blade where it contacts with the phosphor bronze washers. Because if you polish all that down, that's typical where if you get a leather strop, and that's what I work it on, a leather strop, that really does a nice job to get great action for your knives with phosphor bronze washers. I did that to my Spydercos, my Shaman, my Para 3, my Paramilitary 2, and really gave me great drop action. Oh, so I do use the weir drivers. I have a whole set that's over on my table over there. I used the WIA. I have all driver bits, and I have two WIA. Now you're saying wear, which is a little different than a WIA. So that's not quite the same, I think. But I use the WIA ones, the ones that are made in Germany. And they work really good for me. So as long as I use those, I've not had any issues. I did have some non-WIA ones in the very beginning when I started getting into knives, and they were horrible. And I ended up throwing those out because they not only did those get stripped, but they ruined the knife, the screws on the knife. So I was like, yeah, okay, I need to invest in a better screwdriver of some sort. Oh, for T6, the wear? Okay, I'm gonna have to look at that. So is it the bits that you get you're talking about? Are they the wear bits for the T6? So I just bought a box of like 10 or 20 T6 bits that I have to get. Because those, T6s are, I wish they wouldn't use T6s, but they do. And sometimes those T6s, those are easy to strip. Not only the screws, but especially the screw, the torque screw itself, because if it doesn't sit, snugly and deeply enough, it's really high. It'll bend the very tip of it, and that's where all the pressure goes. You want it to go down and distribute the weight of it. That's better engineering for that. I like the 9 a lot. Okay. Oh, the 9? Yeah, I like that. That's a nice knife. And I did get skiff washers for this. I'm gonna probably put some skiff washers in and see how that works. Even though it's really fantastic right now, I thought of maybe putting a set in there just to see if it is even crazier nice. It already is pretty phenomenal like this, as you can see. The action is just kind of, ridiculous. So that's one of those knives I like. Hello, Ginger. Welcome, Ginger Fisher 75. Welcome this evening. Chris Howell, welcome. DA So, welcome. Let's see here. Who else did I not say hello to? Brett, I think, did I say hello? If not, say hello, Brett. They're full torque screwdrivers. Okay, so yeah, I have some full torque screwdrivers from WIA that are like that. And I will tell you, the full torque WIA screwdrivers are better than their torque bits. So maybe it has something to do with the whole screwdriver itself, because the WIA screwdrivers that I have now, those are the ones that are actually made in Germany. Maybe that also has something to do with it, right? Because some of the WIA bits are made in Vietnam, and some of them are made in Mexico, I think. And the ones made in Germany do tend to be a little bit better. Where are those made? You already preferred the righty EDC anyways. B. Walsh, welcome, welcome. Howdy, hello, Witness 144, appreciate you being here. I have a lot of knives. Yeah, I do. This is, what they call this, I've heard say it, and I did it just for eye candy. It's eye candy, just to kind of, lure you in to enjoy the view here, to see what's going on. So we have 24 people here, so let me go over real quick the giveaway, because I know some of you are here for the giveaway. But real quick, I did put the link into the giveaway. So there's a link in our live stream. Let me go to it. So I'm going to show you real quick. Here's the live stream, right? As it's loading. Let's click on that and get it to load. Oh. All right, so here we are in live stream. So what you want to do is you want to click the More button right here. And over here, it'll say, hey, we'll talk knives, but there is a giveaway, which you must be present to win. Click here for the link. So in here, this is a link right here. So you click on that. It opens the video. This is the giveaway video. It's a short little video, but this is where you need to enter. You need to comment in here. Like, subscribe, and comment, okay? So make sure it's PG. So the YouTube filters don't filter you out. Make sure it's clean. because when we do the comment picker, I want to make sure the comment's still there. It's not filtered out, right? And one entry per person. If you leave more than one comment, it's fine. But yeah, I will filter out duplicates. So just, you know, if you want to do more comments, feel free to do so, but you get one entry, right? So that's where you're going to do. And down here, we can already see there's a whole bunch of comments. So we're getting in there. It looks like 14 from when I last checked right here. All right. So that's how you do the entry. And just to review the rules, you must be 18 years old, right? I'm going to go over that real quick. This is for everybody who's new. Most people know this, but you must be 18 years or older. You must contact me within 7 days at my channel's email address. And that's at robsnerdyknives@gmail.com. Okay? And by contacting me, you must provide a valid USA address that I can ship via a USPS small flat rate box. If it gets returned, then you forfeit your prize and it'll become part of the next giveaway. And the reason why I say that is because I take whatever you give me in that email, I cut and paste it right into the USPS app, and I create the label from that. I don't edit it, I cut and paste it. So if you give me something that's weird, it doesn't work, and it generates a label, but it's not to the right person, it comes back, which has actually happened to me, then you don't get the prize, right? So just make sure it's really correct, and what you give me is what I'm going to create the label for. And then by you contacting me, you're acknowledging me that you know that you're adhering to your state and local knife laws. So whatever knife you might win tonight, if you're the winner and you're picked, that adheres to your local state and knife laws, right? I'm not going to, that's up to you, and make sure you're being compliant with that. So again, it has to be a USA address. If you're out of the country, it's fine. Just make sure you have a USA address. I don't care. Just it's a USA address I can ship to. If it's a friend, somebody, you're going to come visit them and pick up your knife, or they're going to come visit you and give you your knife. That's between you and them. That's not with a concern to me, right? I need a USA address. That's just for legality's sake and everything, all right? And so then once we've done all that, you just follow some simple steps. I send you a quick email. It's super easy. Just confirm who you are. Even though we probably will know that it's you, I'm going to follow that because as the channel grows, this is the way we weed out all those bots and things where they come in and try to steal prizes, and people who are unethical and try to act as someone else and create a quick email address to pretend they're somebody else. So this is my way of making sure that whoever is picked actually wins. Okay? So that's what we're going to do. Any questions about that? The Kansept Cryo, anyone here have one? No, I don't. Is that the new one? The one that's fire anodized? Let me see. I'm going to look that up. All right, so everyone's checked in. Good, good, good. Yeah, good luck to everyone. We'll go into the giveaway here in a little bit, but I wanted to see, what is that one? The Kansept Cryo. Okay, let's take a look at that. I've got my iPad over here, so I'm going to look it up here. Kansept Cryo. Oh, that's an interesting little knife. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. All right, so it's S35VN steel, which is nice. It looks like it's got a, looks like a titanium handles. Is that what I'm seeing? It sure looks like it. The designer is Kim Ning. All right, very cool. Yeah, it's blue anodized titanium. That's really cool. I like that. I like the flipper and I like the fuller, so it's definitely got some options there. It's a nice little one. It's a shorter knife, so it's definitely like a little well, I say shorter in the sense of the handle looks like it is, see if the edge is 2.9, so the handle's going to be about 3.6, 3.7 inches, probably. So, no, maybe 3.5 inches, which means that, if you've got extra large, double extra large hands, it might be a little small, it might be a 3-finger knife, and if that's okay with you, then that's a great knife. It could be a small EDC carry. That's cool. Yeah, I don't have any concepts. Concepts or Kansept. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. Is it Kansept? Is it concepts? I don't know. I don't have any yet. There's a few that have been interesting, that looked really interesting to me. It's like, for instance, artisan cutlery. There's a lot of those that I'm not super pulled into. There's a few that I am. But CJRB, I like those knives a lot more, their CJRB line. Those really appeal to me. But there are a lot of budget knives, right? So I enjoy those. But again, if you guys didn't know, I am, all my knives are my knives. I purchase them. I'm not sponsored in the sense of I don't have anybody that sends me knives. I don't have any of those things. So anything that I give away, except for that last one, the CJRB was the first knife that was given to the channel I was able to give away. But all the other giveaways are my knives, right? So it's so if I'm paying for the knife, I'm probably going to buy something that appeals to me, right? Unless I'm buying a knife for a friend, or which I have. I've bought the, a matter of fact, I bought the Pyrite for friends before, so that's a knife that I would definitely be buying. But I buy it and then I give it away. But all right, so Chris Howell. So you have a Milwaukee, two Kaisers, a Boker, a Spyderco, a Best Techman, the Ronins, oh, two of them, a Buck, and a Rough Rider. All right. Now, is a Rough Rider, is it a slip joint, or is it the, because I thought all Rough Riders were slip joints, and I was wrong about that. I learned that. I thought that was interesting. Oh, who's there? 1 Minute Knife Review. Welcome. Hey, welcome, 1 Minute Knife Review. Appreciate you being here. If you guys haven't checked out his channel, you should check out 1 Minute Knife Review. Definitely a good guy. And let's see here. Do I have any of the? I think I picked two mods. I don't know if they're both here. If they are, I would love for them to, maybe if they get a chance to put in some of these links for some of these other guys. Ninja X Plays, welcome. The Laconico design. All right, I do like Ray Laconico. There is one, the Evoke, I believe, is a Laconico design that's made by WE. I have the Keen. That's a Caviezo Ray Laconico collab. I really like that one a lot. That's a nice one. It's actually in my display case over there because I had my actual case is full. Has too many knives in it. And then I have another little bag that's full, and then I have my case that's full. So I probably need to look at whittling down some of those knives because I always said I wouldn't have more than 36 knives, and now I do. So the Echo is really good. Yeah, I've heard that. I actually need to buy a knife for a friend, and I think I might buy an Echo so I can review it and then give that as a gift to that friend. And I can't say who that is because in case they're on here, I don't want them to know. So yeah, that's one of those that I really want to check out. I like the fact that it has the thumb hole and it has the front flipper. Welcome, Dwayne Letterman. Legendary Pest Control, hello, welcome this evening. All right. We're getting close to where we're going to start doing the giveaway, all right? So just to review real quick, we've got 24 in here. So let's, one more time, we'll do this one more time, and then we'll probably start getting close to doing the giveaway. All right, so the rules are, real quick, got to be 18 years old. You got to contact me in 7 days. You must provide a valid Continental USA address where I can ship with a USPS small flat rate box. I take your address that you give me in the email and I cut and paste it exactly into the app. And if it gets returned, that means the address you gave me wasn't correct because I don't edit it, right? And if it gets returned, we'll give it away at another time, right? And by contacting me, you acknowledge as the winner. If you're the winner and you contact me, you acknowledge that you're adhering to your state and local knife laws, right? That's what you're admitting. You're saying that yes, I'm adhering to my state and local knife laws. That's important. As part of winning. And then you must follow some quick, easy steps to confirm that you're the winner. It's super easy. I sent you an email. It just tell you a couple steps to do. And we have this in place for now and in the future, just to make sure that you are who you are and someone doesn't come in pretending that they're you and take the knife away. And then the knife that you won, you don't get. I don't want to see that happens, especially if some of the knives, if we get to a point where we can start giving some nicer knives away, right? I would like people, not that these other knives I'm giving away aren't nice, don't get me wrong. And I'm about to show you what the knife that we're giving away tonight, I think it's a nice knife. So the other thing is, just so you know, if you didn't know, what you do is, here's the live feed, right? And if we go into the live feed, let's make sure it's loading. All right, so you're in here. You go into the description and you hit the more button, and in the description there is a link to another video. That's the entry video. So click on that link. This entry video is where you need to enter. All right, so if you haven't done that, go to this video, leave a comment. Your comment must be PG. Make sure YouTube doesn't filter it out. You can leave as many comments as you want, but only one comment will win, right? In the sense, I'm going to filter out. If you have more than one comment, I'm going to filter you down to one comment. So, multiple comments is not going to give you a better chance. You still have one chance for your comment. So what I'll do is when I run the picker, it'll pick unique comments for every user who left a comment. So if there's 20 comments, let's say there's 2 people and they left 10 comments each, 10 comments each, there would be only two people who entered. But I'm assuming that's not the case here, right? We've got, oh, and if you can, make sure you like the video and subscribe. I would really appreciate that, both this and the live stream. If you wouldn't mind, just hit the like button. That would be awesome. So yeah, so we got looks like we got a fair bit of comments there now. So, all right. So that's what that's how you enter. So let's go ahead and take a look at the knife. Let's see what's going up tonight. So I'm gonna move some of these knives off to the side. And we're gonna see what the knife giveaway is gonna be tonight. It is gonna be a CJRB knife, one that I really like. And I can tell you that this knife would likely be in my car had we not had this giveaway. This would likely be in my car. Oh, it's telling me the connection's not there. Are we not connected? Let's see. Okay. No, it's connected. All right, it's just my PC is acting weird. Okay. Or is it? All right, there we go. All right, so it's a CJRB knife. All right, here we are. Okay, so I think we're back. Let me know if we're not. My internet's pretty good, but I have two 16-year-old teenagers who play a lot of video games, and they also stream while they play video games, and then they listen to music while they play video games, which is also streamed. Then I have a wife who usually streams something on her phone while she's playing video games, or at least on her game, she's playing on her phone, and then she watches on TV. And so then I have a sister-in-law who's renting a room for us, and she watches stuff and streams as well. And then I'm doing this, right? So there's a whole lot of streaming going on here, but I do have 1.2 gigabit connection speed, so you'd think that'd be okay, but I guess every once in a while it hits a little bit of traffic. All right. I'm killing you with suspense. I'm sorry. I'm trying to build it up. Can you feel it? Can you feel the tension? Can we slice through the tension? Hey, I had to make that knife joke. That's a dad joke, right? That's a dad joke. My boys would all be like groaning with that one. All right, so CJRB, what we're giving away tonight. If you know these numbers, it's the J1926RE. So now you know, right? Everybody knows what that is. No, I'm kidding. I have no idea. CJRB and Artisan Cutlery, their numbering convention, it is like a cryptic sort of thing that they do. But let's look at it. You do get a nice silicate gel packet. Get a nice case. I do like their cases. Their cases are really nice. And this is a logo. If you haven't checked out the logo, it's more of a full-size knife. I think but it handles well. It's got the thumb hole, or spidey hole, or fuller hole, whatever you want to call it, and it has a flipper, and it's got some nice jimping. This is G10. This is red. Apparently, this is what they call red. It looks a little orange to me, but they say it's red, so we'll go with that. We'll say sure it's red, but I like it. It's kind of a nice color, and the action is really nice. Okay, so beautiful, satin finish right there, and this is ARRP M9. As you can, I don't know if you can see that ARRP M9. That's a proprietary Artisan Cutlery powdered metal. So it's a little better, it's like a D2. It's supposed to have a little better corrosion resistance, a little easier to sharpen, and supposed to retain the edge fairly well. It is a budget steel, there's no doubt. It's it's not quite up there with 14C28N, but I think it's definitely, I personally think it's better than D2. It's not an ingot steel, so you're going to have metal structure, which means it'll be a stronger steel. Again, it has this is just really easy to flick, and you can get a really nice flick, and it's a button lock, and this button lock works really well, and it's very smooth, and of course with a button lock, it's easy to do left-handed, and this does reverse for lefties, so lefties rejoice. It's switchable, and if you notice, the screws are recessed, so you have a nice clearance. You've got a little ramp to get over, and so you've got nice clearance, so it's going to be easy in the pocket. It's nicely centered. It's a very, very, I think, nice blade. It's full flat grind, comes to a fairly thin edge, and it's really sharp. I think you'll be very happy with that. It does have a slight swedge on top. I mean, it's not fully functional swedge. You know what swedges are, right? Everyone knows that a swedge is supposed to help you cut through thick stuff, and that's the idea. But that's more of an aesthetic, I think, swedge. It's more for looks. but it's still nice. It's got some good jimping up here, and of course it's got the finger choil, so you can choke up on it, which is really nice. So if you're going to do a precision cut, and it's a Warney, well, I'd say this is more of a sheep's foot. I would call this a sheep's foot, the way it drops down. So this is a really beautiful sheep's foot kind of a blade. I should probably, do I have a cloth here? I need to wipe that off. I got little fingerprints all over it. So there we go. We can put a little oil on there later. But as you can see, that's the CJRB. All right, so I've talked a lot and I wasn't reading the comments, so let me catch up here. All right, we're good. All right, trying to see if I missed anything. If anybody new showed up, all right. We got Broke AZ Knives. I think I already said hello. Witness 144. I think I said hello. I don't know if I remember saying hello. All right, so if you all haven't entered yet, so all the new people who have entered, make sure you go into the description of this video at the bottom. If you're looking on a PC or an iPad, it's going to be usually down here. It's a little button. You click on the description, and it may show up over here or down below if you're on your phone. And in there, there's a link. Click on that link. It's going to open up a separate video. That's the entry video. You want to leave a comment in there. One entry per person. So if you leave more than one comment, it's going to filter you down to one comment. You can leave more comments, but remember, just one entry per person. The app that picks you will filter out all the extra entries. But leave a comment. Make sure it's PG so YouTube doesn't filter you out with some weird comment. Okay. So if you haven't done that, I'll wait a couple of minutes for everybody real quick because we've got it looks like we had an extra 10 people since I last said that. Make sure you go and enter real quick. All right. So if you haven't entered, go enter real quick. I'm going to go take a look real quick and see what our count is up over there, and we'll get ready to do the pick here in just a second. Everybody entered? Lace it with profanity. Yes, so Dave C is like, yeah, go crazy like that. And so only Dave's comment will show up, right? Is that the goal there, Dave? I can see the logic. I can see the logic in that. I mean, you know, if it works, hey, right? So I'm gonna go in here and let's look at the link. What are we up to? Hey, and if you get a chance, hit the like button while you're there too. I would appreciate that. Yeah, so we got a good amount of comments in there. Yeah, definitely. All right. Cool. All right, so I think I'm gonna wait one more minute for everybody to enter. If you haven't entered, go enter right now. One more minute. I'm gonna get the app picker. We're gonna get over there, and so let's go ahead and do that. So here we go. Is everyone ready? Here, I'm gonna go this way. How about we do it like this? All right. So we need the link. So I'm gonna go back. This is the entry video right here. Okay, so I'm gonna share this, and if you're curious, here I'll just show you. This is the video. Everybody aware of that? So this is the one you entered. Make sure your comment was in here, not the live stream. Okay. So I'm gonna copy that link. I'm gonna go back over here. I'm gonna go put it in here. And it always likes to resize everything. Oops. We will paste that in, close that. So if you want to just confirm, that's the link to the video that we were just the entry video. All right. I'm going to drop that down and we're going to filter duplicates. So we're going to filter duplicates out. All right. And that's really it. So I got to do a little math here. 7 plus 6 is 13. All right. And everybody ready? Here we go. Everybody ready? Everybody's entered. All right, here we go. See the comments. We got 32 comments. All right, 32 comments. 1 in the 32 chance tonight. That's pretty good odds for winning a giveaway. All right. All right, here we go. Let's zoom in. Tonight's winner is Antony. Well, congratulations. Hi all, enjoy the live. Antony, you are the winner. All right, Antony, I saw you in here. Are you still here? Just confirm you're still here. And then email me. Let's see, just comment, say hello, Antony. Yes, all right, you are. So email me. Let me give you the email address to email me at. It's going to be robsnerdyknives@gmail.com. All right, so robsnerdyknives@gmail.com. So email me with your address. It's got to be USA address, right, that I can ship to. And then I'm going to reply to you. I'm going to ask you to go through some steps to confirm. Congratulations, Antony. You get the CJRB, the Lago. Nice little knife. I think you'll really like this. I really like this knife. Like I said, if it wasn't for me doing a channel like this, I would have this in my car as my my backup knife for the car. I think this is a great utility knife. This is a user and a beater knife. I definitely think this is a knife you can carry and use and, you know, just do all sorts of work with. And the nice thing is that ARRP M9 steel sharpens up really relatively nice. When I strop this, it strops up really nice. I have a crazy sharp edge on there right now. So I think you'll really enjoy that. So congrats. So now, if you guys were only here for the giveaway, and that's fine. I know some of you guys want to leave and you got things to do. I totally understand. But for the rest of you guys who want to just talk knives, that's what we are also here for. So if anybody wants to talk knives and hang around, please feel free to do so. We can chat about knives. I do enjoy doing that, and a lot of you others do as well. So we can hang around to do that. But I just want to make sure if you guys, you don't worry, you're not. I'm not going to feel bad if you have to leave. Maybe you've got somewhere else to go. I also know that there are other live streams that you may be a part of, and I can understand that as well. This is Antoni. Congratulations again, just for everybody's sake. Antoni was a winner. Congratulations. And hi, y'all. Enjoy the live. So, way to go. That's awesome. Congratulations. You have 5 knives in your car. I used to have like 15. You used to have 15. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I think I have 1 or I have 2 maybe in my car right now. So I understand. I have 2. I have like a real beater knife, and it's serrated because, you know, when you're in a car, you never know what you have to cut. And, you know, I'm not a big serrated knife fan, but when it comes to car and sometimes having to cut rubber or cut something, a serrated knife makes sense to me for a car knife. You know what I mean? I don't know about you guys. What do you think? Nate, you're going nowhere. All right. Well, I appreciate you hanging around. Cool. We will just have a, you know, we're just going to talk about some knives. I'm going to put this away. Antoni, hopefully if you got this, just so you know real quick, Antoni, if you lose this and you're trying to get a hold of me, my channel page, there's a link to send me an email. That email will go to this email address as well. So if you lose this, you can send me via that link. But if you've already sent the email, awesome, you're all set. So just make sure you do it in 7 days, right? So we can verify who you are. I want you to get your knife. So I'm going to bring these all out again because this is sort of my current latest collection stuff that I have here. Let's put these all out. These are some of the nicer knives that I have in my collection as of right now, I would say. I don't know if I have them in the right order. Don't let my OCD kind of show up here because I'm going to try to make this work like it did before. So I apologize if that's... All right, so there we go. Let's see if we can see all that. You're eating. All right, Dwayne. Yeah, I know. I think my family's eating too. That's the only thing. Sometimes when you do this time frame, it's right around when everybody eats. So, you know, I know there's a couple of live streams I like to watch, and they usually go around this time, like on Fridays and stuff. I'm usually eating dinner, listening with a little earpiece, trying to be a part of it. So. You haven't picked up a serrated lately. I haven't. I don't typically get serrated, Dave. You know, for me, serrated knives are. It's not my first thing. One, because serrated is a little more challenging to sharpen. Now, I did sharpen. So my hands are kind of dirty, if you can see. I sharpened all our kitchen knives last night, and that took a while. And so I used the KME guided sharpener. And I know somebody asked me to do, a couple of people asked me to do a video on sharpening, and I should do that and show you the various ways that I sharpen knives. I'm assuming that might be of value to some, at least to see my perspective on it. It might be a little different perspective than others. I'm nowhere near like a Neeves knives expert, but just to show you how a normal everyday kind of guy does his sharpening, that might be helpful because when I see Neeves knives does sharpening, I realize how little I know. But at the same time, I think it's nice to see, you know, that I think everybody else can sharpen as well, and you don't have to be overwhelmed by it. So, playing a quick board game with kids, go for it, man. Please do. You know, don't feel like if you spend time with your kids, I completely understand. I don't want you to. That's the most important thing. Don't miss out on that. I completely understand. So, You don't have to. There's no problem with that whatsoever. I think that's the right thing to do. And you know, do I trade knives? Do I trade knives at all? I don't typically trade knives. I will sell a knife, and I usually will use. By the way, I use NAF sale, and I do have a link in my descriptions, and I should probably put it into this description. But I do have a NAF sale link, and so NAF did provide me like a what do they call it? I don't know if it's not really a sponsor, but it's a link that if you click on it, I get a little credit toward the channel, and it helps the channel out. So it's not necessarily what I would call a. So I have links for you get a discount, but then I also have some links where you get. I want to call them, where are they? Affiliate links. Yeah, affiliate links. I guess it's sort of an affiliate link, but it's not really, right? So if you click on the link for NAV sale, and I'm going to put this into, I'll put this into my into the description for this. But if you click on it, the channel gets some credit. And so here's the thing: if any money comes toward the channel, I consider it something to get more knives. And ultimately, my goal is that maybe this becomes self-sustaining, and then some of the knives I can get, I can give away. So that's what I would like to be able to do, honestly. I would really like to get to that point where I can give some nicer knives away. You know, if we make some money and the channel does well, then I could give more things away. You know, that would be my ultimate desire to be able to do, because I'd like people to partake of it, and I'd like to see the benefit go to all the wonderful people who are subscribing. You know what I mean? So that's my ultimate goal. That being said, I use NAV sale to sell. I don't typically trade, because typically when I look for knives, I'm looking for very specific ones. And at this point, you know, my knives that I get are knives that I use. I don't collect. Where I'm at in my knife journey, every one of these knives is a user knife. That includes my whippersnapper. This is a user knife. I carried this all week and have enjoyed carrying it all week, and I've stropped it up like crazy, and it's super crazy sharp right now. For S90V steel, if you know that, that means that edge is going to hang around for quite a bit of time. So I do carry these knives. Now, do I go out like I did today when I was helping my son at the FFA, his FHA barn, Future Farmers of America, or FFA, whatever it was? He was setting up because he's going to be showing another lamb at school. I did use this knife, and I've got some scratches on there, but we had to cut some heavy stock weeds and stuff. So this is a little more of an abuser, but this is a less expensive knife, right? So if I carry this, I'm going to have a fifth pocket knife, and I'll carry it like that. So yeah, to answer your question, it's a really long way to answer it. No, I don't typically trade. I'm not. I don't know if I know enough about what's a good trade, and I'm still kind of new to the whole thing. So, you know, yeah. Trouble is kids. That's funny. All right. Thanks, Antoni. Appreciate the email. That's awesome. So the Concept Cryo, okay, I mentioned earlier, is a full size. All right, so A1 titanium. Yeah, I was looking at that. S35. Oh, it's 8.8 inches. The one I looked at, I guess, was it the link that I looked at? Maybe I wasn't looking at the right one. Let's see here. I thought this was what the one I was looking at was the Cryo. So you're saying oh, that's the mini. Oh, okay, I got you. I was looking at the mini. Oh, I didn't know there was a mini and a not. Oh no, of course I just closed that. So let's do that again. Concept, and it was called a Cryo. All right, so let's look at that one. Oh, I don't know who this guy is, so we'll go to Blade HQ. How about that? Okay, that's the mini again. I keep picking the mini, don't I? Here we go. Let's do this one. All right, so 8.8 inches. I got you. All right, so it is a much larger knife. I got you. Which one did you get? Did you say titanium S30? Let's see, a 3.5 blade. The one I was looking at was definitely the mini. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so you have some older case knives. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, nav sale, I like it. I like nav sale. I've sold 8 knives, 9 knives, maybe 10. I'll have to go back and look at that. And I've got 1 or 2 knives on for sale there now, but I need to cancel those and relist them because they're a couple of months old, and I think they're way down on the list. So, um, so I know Concept has some nice knives, and I have been interested in looking at some of them, and I think, yeah. So, if I were to get it, I would definitely want the titanium. This looks like, is this Burple? Is this the Burple titanium kind of handle? Again, that's the mini. I keep picking the mini. I don't want the mini. We want the full size. So it looks like the mini ones are the ones that are kind of fancy, right? All right, so here's one that's titanium. Oh, okay. All right, let's look at that. The handle. Let's see, what do we got? A 4.5 inch handle. That's nice. Okay, so that's for a full size, extra large, double extra large hand grip. Okay, I like that. Oh, and I like that. That almost looks like zirconium. That almost looks like a zirconium deep pocket carry clip. That's cool. So is this the one? All right, so make sure I'm thinking here. I'm missing a comment here somewhere. Somebody asked me why only two. I'm just reading, catching up here because I'm a little behind. Okay, so you got one coming from China. So you ordered directly from them in China, just like I've done that with Artisan Cutlery and CJRB. And it's relatively fast. Now, Kunwu was a little slow. Kunwu, first one I ordered from them came really fast. The second one I got from Kunwu, oh my gosh, it was, it got stuck in customs for 3, 4 weeks. And I don't know why. They didn't even know why. And it finally got released and I got it. And it was weird. It was like forever in customs. So I don't know what was going on there. So right now I'd have to go look to see how many knives I have on sale. I have been really busy at work with a project where I had to do something for an executive board. And so for the last few weeks, I've been putting a lot of hours in and trying to do this at the same time. So it's been challenging. I haven't really looked at that. So I need to go back and see where I'm at because I do need to relist several knives. I think I'm going to probably be selling a CMB Spear one. That's a really nice knife, but it's just one that I don't carry. I might sell a few other ones. So I need to go through which ones those are. Let's see here. What else? What else? You have the Goblin. I've heard good things about the Goblin too. Speaking of the Goblin, I believe in my Apex pass around, I'm signed up for the. I thought I was signed up for the pass around for the Goblin so I could get a look at it. I have to remember. I have to go back and look at that because I think I might get a chance to try one of those out. I'm really looking forward to that. Oh, Vosteed started by Kaiser Friends. Oh, really? I didn't know that. I really like Vosteed. I'm also an affiliate with Vosteed, and I've given at least 2 Vosteeds away here, and I like their knives a lot. I really do. It's a great knife to give as a gift. It's a great knife for a beater knife. It's a very cost-effective knife. If someone is just getting into knives, you want to give them a good knife, a solid knife that they can use and you can feel good about, and it's not a super uber cheap knife. I did a video on knife safety quite a while ago. It was kind of a earlier version. Probably the audio wasn't great, but it was. I wanted to talk about it because my wife got a really nice gift from her best friend, and it was really sweet. It was a beautiful knife. It was a great idea. Unfortunately, the knife, after a little bit of use, it was a liner lock. The liner lock didn't lock up, and it was very unsafe. And it was, it was a lesser expensive knife. And sometimes when you get those knives, they're not quite as, tight on their specifications. And so and eventually got her another knife because it was just unsafe, right? And I saved the knife for her so she can still have it as a gift and hold on to it, but it's just a knife she shouldn't use because it would really be dangerous, right? If you have a liner lock, let's see, what do we have? Which one of these is a liner lock? Do I have a liner lock out? Oh yeah, I have a liner lock here. So if your liner lock doesn't engage on the tang of the blade and it breaks when you're cutting, if your knife is breaking down like that, I mean that's just dangerous, especially if you're cutting like this. You can just really really hurt yourself, right? So you don't want that. So I got her another knife, but yeah,
kind of like why I think it's worth spending a little money, like on a Vosteed, a CJRB, even a Concept. I believe they have some great budget knives. The Civivi and the Sencut lines, those are really good. There's several folks out, even some of the Spyderco's budget lines, the Birds and some of the other ones that they have, those are really good as well. Oh, the Comrade, he designed the Comrade. That's why the Thunderbird is so similar. Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool. Oh, the Vosti Gator. I got to take a look at that one. I think I know which one you're talking about because they've come out with a few lately that are really really cool. Oh, the Magnetron. Did you get the Magnetron Witness 144? I was really eyeing that one, and I kind of decided between the Magnetron and the Exciton. Now, the reason why I got the Exciton was because this is a limited edition, and I knew if I didn't get this now, I wouldn't get this in the future, because this would probably, like just like the Ziphius, those are limited editions, right? But the Magnetron is not a limited edition, so I figured they would maybe drop a few more batches of those, and I have a chance at that later on. My one question for you for the Magnetron, what I like to do a middle finger reverse flick. Can you get in on that knife at the with the flat grind going up to it? Because I don't think it's hollow grind. Can you get up there and can you do a reverse flick on that one on the Magnetron? Hey, welcome Hero Sticks. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Yeah, we did the giveaway already. Antoni won the giveaway this evening, so congratulations to him. Now we're just talking knives. We're just chit-chatting about knives and talking about maybe some new acquisitions and new things that people have gotten. You blew your budget on Concept. Yeah, I did the same. I blew my budget on this, and I'm going to be a little limited for a while. And this really was a big budget one here. So between those two, that really, yeah, that put a stop on my, and then of course this one too. Yeah, so I, I was eyeing this one and planning for this one for a while. I was eyeing and planning for this one for a while. This one I was not, and I think Rocky, who's been on here, he kind of pushed me over the edge, and then a couple other folks. I think it was Dave also. I think you had one of these, or a couple of them. You pushed me over the edge as well. So, hey Joe, have a great week. Have a great night. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you being here, and hopefully we'll see you next week if you get a chance to stop in. The Shard, okay, and the Timascus inlay. Oh, let me see what the Shard looks like. There is one that I saw that looks yes, Rocky, absolutely worth it. And just to go off on a tangent real quick, this inlay in the sun, I was trying to figure out what it looks like. So there's no imperfections. If you look at this, a lot of times, fat carbon usually will have like voids. It'll have even typical carbon fiber will have voids. And this one, I don't really see a lot of voids in this one, but you can find most carbon fibers will have a little void in it. There's no voids in this. And what I find is that it almost looks like amber. It looks like an amber jewel in the sun. I don't know how to describe it, but it's just simply stunning. It really is stunning. It looks almost like it's like jewelry, like an amber jewel. It's the nicest fat carbon I've ever had on any knife. So I'll just say that. Oh, so retired. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I realize that the way some of these acquisitions work for me is that I sell and then get some more, and but I'm not quite retired yet, right? So I have to, but I'm also not buying as much as other people could because I have two teenage boys. So I've got to be a little more shrewd about my purchases. That's why I don't have massive collections of knives. I think I have maybe 55, 60 knives, which even that is probably going to be whittled down a little bit. I don't have a gargantuan knives. I know several of the folks who have hundreds and hundreds of knives. I don't know if I'll ever get that many. I say I would never get that many. I said I would never spend this much, but that line sometimes moves a little bit as you get more into your collection and your aesthetics change. But I've been pretty steady on any knife I get, I carry. But I think as the kids grow up and they move out, maybe I'll explore some of those fancy knives, assuming I'm still working, right? Um, yeah, 71 is awesome. That's a great, I want to hit that myself. So, oh, so you like the QC9? Yeah, I like this one too. This is I know this has probably been a sore spot for several people because I know I made a video on how I got the carbon fiber on this, and I think I got the carbon fiber because I had a black one before. They gave me a different knife that I bought. I bought the IQ, the smaller one, years ago, and it was a black one, and it didn't lock up. And because it didn't lock up when I first got it, it was right when was getting to knives, I was flicking it. Within the first five flicks, the whole pivot screw was out. I didn't know you're supposed to check all that. It was my first experience and a really nice knife. And as I did that, it started rubbing the blade and started scratching the black PVD coating on here, and it completely exposed it. And I was like, what's going on? I didn't understand what it was. I didn't even know what to look for. It was like a whole new experience having a screw come out that fast. So obviously now I check every screw, right? I mean, you learn, but that was an expensive lesson to learn because back then that IQ was one of the more expensive knives I bought. And but in dealing with them, they were able to take it back, and I was really, I bought other knives from them. I bought a Drift. I bought the regular IQ without the black coating on there. But I think the guy remembered me, so when I ordered this one, I ordered the all blacked out version with the carbon fiber because I didn't want the micarta. I'm not a micarta fan. But he said, "Hey, you sure you want the black one? I'm not sure if it's thick. It might be a little loose. I guess their coating doesn't stick as well, and it does loosen up more easily. So if you get the all blacked out version, you got to check your pivots screws regularly." He was willing to switch this out for me, and so he did, and I love it. I love this combination. I think this combination for me speaks to me more than the micarta. I know some of you guys love micarta, and that's cool. If you love micarta, go for it. I have some micarta, but very little. I'm not a huge micarta fan. I have, I think, two things in micarta. I have a Pena Trapper and one other thing I can't remember. But anyways, but I like this a lot better. So yeah, I know 55 knives is a lot. But Ahmed, I suspect about a year or two from now, you might be thinking 55 knives is not a lot. Because I know you've gotten quite a few really nice knives in your collection you were sharing with me. So I suspect your collection is growing as well, and I suspect it'll continue to grow. So it seems like a lot now, and it is. I'm not going to say it's not, but I remember when I first got more than 10 knives, I thought that was crazy. And then I got more than 20, and I thought that was crazy. And then I got more than that, right? Oh, wait. Oh, Rocky's sharing something. Let's see what he's sharing, because usually he shares something crazy, something cool. Let's see what this is. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, that's a William Henry. Yeah. Yeah, William Henry stuff is insane. That's you know what that reminds me of? You know that Protec, the show piece that they did that was they're only allowed to make 6 pieces of? That one was like 20,000, 24,000 or something like that? That was a beautiful piece, but it had all this microscopic inlay that was done in there with a guy with a microscope. I mean, he's supposed to be a really phenomenal person. Do you remember that one? And it had Chad Nichols, Damascus steel, and all that stuff. That's what it reminds me. Yeah, and that one had platinum and 18 karat gold inlay. Yeah, yeah, and it also had it had some pearls, and it had what is the jewel? It looks like pearls, but it's abalonium. Had abalonium inlay and some other things like that. Yeah. Now that's a knife that I've looked at William Henry, and there's a few that are like $600-700 that I would carry, and I would consider carrying, but I'd want to make sure that it could hold up and could be used. Some of the William Henrys looks more like knives for collections if you like to display or collect them. Does anybody own a William Henry that you carry regularly and use? I'm just curious if anybody here has William Henrys and carry regularly and use. Okay, so that was so cool. Just like that, made new custom for you. Oh, okay. There's a place, there's a site that I go to because I can actually find Protecs on there, but they're usually a little more expensive. But you can find certain Protecs that's hard to get. Let me see if I can find that link. There is a place, let's see, where are you? It is Knife Stores. It is called, oh yeah, Scrimshaw Gallery. Let me see if I can find that. Has anyone heard of that Scrimshaw Gallery? I'll post it in there if I can. Yeah, there it is. Okay. And I'm going to give the link. They have all sorts of art stuff in there, but they have a section just on knives. And I like that. Pins and knives, they call it. Or knives and pins, I should say. And in there, they mostly carry William Henry and ProTech. So I'm going to give you the link for... I'll give you the link for the pins and knives, but you can find a bunch of William Henry in there, and you can also find a bunch of ProTechs in there. Yeah, I look at some of these knives and I'm like, yeah, that's out of my realm completely. But you'll look at some of those William Henrys. They get into that price range of that other one you shared. You know, Dave, see, if I were to the watch that I had in college before my last semester of college, I went back to school to finish school, and I went back to college to finish school, and the last semester I needed enough. It was right during the economy tanked at the time, and so I sold all my last bit of my investments to finish my last semester, and I ended up selling for my last semester itself. I had a Seamaster, Omega Seamaster in full titanium. I sold that watch to pay for the last semester, and I've never had a watch like that since. But it was when I was making some other things, but I decided to go back for my education because I was hitting a wall in my career, and I needed to get a certain degree to get past that. But I had kids. The thought never came up to buy another watch like that. But would I like a watch like that? Yeah, I would. I really would. But it's lesser, it's not as important to me as some of the other things. So, for instance, I really like the knives that I use. And every one of these I like to use. I mean, so what can I say? Yeah, I think of it this way. My wife's boss, I feel like if he were to get a knife, if you're like a oil tycoon or you owned a business, that's the William Henry is the kind of knife that I would expect you to pull out to open up your mail in your big executive office. You know what I mean? Be like your letter opener knife. That's what it would seem like to me. Use a sundial. I have an Apple Watch. I like the technology, so that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, someday. Who knows? Maybe. Maybe. I remember when Apple. Y'all remember when Apple Watches first came out? They had those 18 karat gold Apple Watches. Wow, those were crazy. Yeah, I think that only way that would ever work is if you could update the technology in that watch over and over, but it just didn't seem like you could. Oh, I hard use your knives. I did too. So right before this, I was helping my son with his FHA barn stall at the school. He's going to be showing another lamb. He wants to be a veterinarian. He wants to go to Texas A&M University to be a veterinarian. And if you know veterinarian school, Texas A&M University is one of the best schools to be a vet. So there's no question. He wants to do large animals, and that's a great place to go. That being said, we had to cut down some massive weeds in one of his stalls in the back where all the dirt was, where they go outside to kind of pasture. And so I had to cut down some of these, and I used this for it. And so I got a few scratches on this. I had not really hard used it, but this is what I would use. This is the cheaper of the two. I would rather use this than my Maverick, right? The Maverick is a little more expensive, but this is MagnaCut. So this would handle that really well, and I would use it too. However, I probably wouldn't bring out the whippersnapper. I would bring a fifth pocket knife for that. This is where I still carry this. I still use this, and I open letters, envelopes, plastic bags, dog food, cat food, but I'm not going to go be cutting down weeds and branches and stuff with this one. I still carry it, still use it. I'll have a fifth pocket knife with me, But if I'm there, this was no problem using this one because that's what I feel like this is for. And I'm glad I could use this. And it's Elmax steel, and it's a good steel for that, right? So to me, that's fine. A Seamaster. Yeah, the Seamaster is nice. It is a nice. Oh, what was 12,500? Is that the knife that you were looking at just before? Is that the one you were talking about? No, that was 18,000. Hey, a $60 G-Shock is awesome. But you know, here's something I bet you didn't know about the G-Shocks. If you go over to Japan, you can get some really high-end G-Shocks that are in the thousands. I mean, they make some really fancy Seiko G-Shocks. There's a whole nother tier of Seiko watches that I bet you didn't even know that includes the G-Shock that you can get. That it has the G-Shock kind of core functionality, but it's in a whole different level. And they're really, really nice. About where I am with my Whippersnapper 2. Oh, yeah. I carry 5+, one to play with, one to hard use, one use light, one to hand dump, and at least one for backup. I love that 1 minute knife review. That is awesome. I'm sorry, you just made my night. That is hilarious. That's hilarious, yes. I agree. I think every one of us probably have done a video where they're like knives you never hand to people, right? There are knives, like for instance, I would never hand this knife to a person for a couple of reasons. This is an OTS, it's out the side automatic, right? You hand this to someone, it's gonna go flying, it's gonna go down, you're gonna break a tip, it's gonna cut somebody. I heard stories about someone with a ProTech in a store where they opened it, it flew out of their hand, went down, and impaled their foot. So, yeah, I like that 1 minute knife review. That was hilarious. But you know what's one of the best and easiest knives to hand someone for the first time? Are button locks. They're great. And here's the Love Them Knives, the result. And I will tell you, I wanted to compare the button lock from the Exciton to the result. And I felt like this button lock was phenomenal. It's one of the best button locks that I had experienced. And I will say, this is probably a little bit better, but they're really close. And it makes me wonder if it's similar technology, because if you look at the buttons, they're milled almost identically. One's a little more polished, but it has the same pattern and the same little dimple on the inside. And I think it's similar. That button lock, it really locks in. There's no wiggle play, and it locks in really solidly for a button lock. It's one of the, these are my two best button lock knives that I have. They are just phenomenal, phenomenal button locks. I think it's even better. This is good. Don't get me wrong, Fair and Forged, this is good, but it's not, it doesn't have a strong, and I don't want to say detent, you know what I mean. Detent is what we use, the resistance to the actuation of the opening of the knife. So it's the plunge lock resistance, right? It's not as strong on this one. Now, it works a little bit better because I think it's further out, so you have leverage, you know, and you can use that, and it's a smaller blade, but on here, the flipper is a little bit higher than the actual pivot, so you get good leverage on this one, and that's what really works well on this, the physics. But button locks is my knife that I like to hand to people because they can do this, and when they close it, they can do that. It's super simple. Frame locks are really, you've got to be careful with frame locks. I don't know if this happens to you, but I give someone a frame lock, and the first thing they do is they start pushing it in like this, or they try to push it down like that. They don't realize it goes out to the side like that to drop. And that can really screw up your frame, right? You can bend the actual frame lock if you're not careful. How strong they are. Yeah, I agree, Rocky. With Rocky, they are absolutely worth it. I've been really amazed how I enjoy this knife. It is just so smooth. So my iMamba, which is phenomenal, it's one of the smoothest knives that I have. The action on this, it literally feels like butter. Just smooth, slippery butter on glass, right? And this was some of the smoothest action that I had on any knife was this one right here. Now I felt the McNeese. McNeese, the frame lock version, that was really really smooth as well. You know, there was a premium price for that, right? Like there is for this one, right? And there's definitely a premium price for this, but it is ridiculously smooth. It is just really really nice, and I agree with Rocky. It is worth it. Now, I will say everything I've heard is the bolster lock version 2 is far better than the version 1, and they've kind of held. I was reading on their site, they've stopped making the version 1, but they say they're not. It's not going away. It's going to come back. I suspect what they've learned with the bolster lock here and the version 2 and the smoothness. I think I wouldn't be surprised if they incorporate that back into version 1. It'll probably be very similar in many ways, but they'll use some of the some of the things that they've learned here in this version 2, because this version 2 is executed just phenomenal. It really is. I agree. Yeah, I know. A lot of people don't even know what a good pocket knife is. User friendly for dumb people. I like that. Oh yeah, the lock bar over push on my Sabenza. Yeah, and if you don't have an over travel stop on some of those frame locks, and someone gets it, oh my gosh, you know that's it, I really think that the over travel stop that's on that steel bar insert, that's put there for those people who just want to just crank it all the way out and bend it. Because there are some people who are just naturally strong. My stepfather, he was a mechanic, and he could tighten bolts tighter than I could do with a wrench. I mean, it was ridiculous how strong his hands were. You try to crush his hand, it wouldn't. You couldn't, even with two hands. And I was powerlifting in high school, and he bruised my knuckles in between when I was trying to do a squeeze contest with him, and he wasn't squeezing my hand that hard. That was what was scary, and I was like, yeah, I had a lot of respect for heavy machinery mechanics. They really have some strong hands. They don't do pivot collars for the first bolster lock version. Oh, okay. So what's when you say pivot collar, are you talking about like in here or something of the collar? I guess I'm not sure what that is. Is that something that's inside where the ball bearings are? Typically, when I think of a pivot collar, I think of something like this. Like here's the screw, and then there's a collar around the pivot. That's what when I think pivot collar. Is that what you mean, Dave? I think the whippersnapper would be a very nice top grail. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Because like even here on this one right here, there's a pivot collar here, and it's definitely it's fire anodized. It's not Timascus or anything, but it's nice. I like a small amount of fire anodized stuff like this. I don't like it all over the place. Like that, it's pretty nice, I think. But they also, I think, Rocky, or was it you, Dave, that was going to send yours back, and you were going to get the back spacer here. You were going to get that out, and you're going to get the Rocky pattern or something. They could order that and put that in. I think one of you guys were talking about that. The Malice is weak, but one thing, Dave, I will say, if you haven't done it, if you've taken apart your Mini Malice, which is relatively easy to do, because I tend to take them apart and clean them. Because one thing about button locks, if they're not clean, you can feel it and it's very gritty. But when you take it apart, you can stretch out that spring a little bit and try that. That really gives it a little stronger detent. I did that, and that really salvaged, I think, how weak it was at first. And it also, with the stronger detent, when it locks down, it engages that much better. So when you drop it, it doesn't bounce as much, right? So a lot of times when it's really weak like that, it comes down, it'll bounce out, and it doesn't catch like it normally would. Like on the Exciton, because the spring is so robust, it snaps in there. You don't see any bouncing unless I hold the button down. And then I have to intentionally break that. But then I can let it go in like that, and just drop it, and it falls down like a nice detent, right? So, I don't know. I don't know if you're willing to do that, but if you try that, that might be something worth giving it a shot to. If you still have your Mini Malice. If you don't have your Mini Malice, then it doesn't matter, right? But if you had it, and you were thinking of getting rid of it, and you were not using it a lot because of the detent, you might play around with that and try it. I know that worked for me a little bit, so. I did that on a couple of Vosteeds. I had the Valkyrie. The spring was really weak, and I stretched that out. That was tremendous help for that one. I think the Valkyrie, the first versions of the Valkyrie, the springs weren't as strong as they need it to be. And that was disappointing. Oh, this one right here? You're talking about the... I do like, I mean, to me, this is a great small knife. When I want something small and discreet, I really like the Mini Malice because I can also get a full presentation for a nice push cut if I need to work with it. And I don't know, they did such a nice job with the stonewash and this blue anodization. It glitters in the sun. It almost looks, you know, like it's jewelry, if you will. It's kind of nice. I'm not usually a blue anodized fan, so when I saw this in the sun, I was like, okay, that's different, and it really is. So I don't know what color is yours, if it's the plain one or if it's the blue one. I want to make sure I'm not missing any conversation. Hey, if I'm missing something, please let me know. If you asked me a question or you said something, I'm trying to keep up with all the conversations. I don't want to miss out on anything. So if I did, let me know, please. Yeah, I would agree. Kunwus are pretty nice. I saw that previous comment from you, Rocky. I do like the Kunwu. There's the one that they have a Kickstarter on that I didn't get in on. You know me, and if you've seen any of my Rob's ramblings, I'm not a big pre-order guy. I've done 1 or 2 pre-orders when I know they come up pretty quick. I'm just not a big pre-order fan because I've gotten burned on them, just waiting forever for them. So I didn't do the Kickstarter because I wasn't sure how long that would come out, and I wasn't sure how well it would work. Now, there's some Kickstarters that I would have no problems being a part of. There's some that I want to see how it works out, because if I'm paying the money and I'm investing a significant amount of money in it, a Kickstarter or a pre-order, that's rolling the die for me, right? For some people, that might be just change, right? But for me, that's money I could put on another knife that I would maybe want to get before then. For instance, I really want to get the frame lock version of the McNeese. He's probably, I talked to him, John's not going to release any of these until after Blade Show. So he's still releasing a bunch of autos and the aluminum scales, but you're not going to get the frame lock versions until after Blade Show Atlanta. So I have to wait till then before I can even start looking for one of those. Yes, I agree. The Mini Malice is better than the Ferrum Forge Archbishop. Yeah. What's the next knife that I'm excited that's coming out? Well, there was this one, and this was the one that came in this week, and then there was this one, which I honestly did not expect to get for a while, and I just got this today. I haven't even tuned this yet, so you can, like I've already said earlier, it's still really tight. I got to do a little work on this one. Let's see. I know I have a Grail list, and let me see what's on there. Okay. I still want to get the Mordax. Y'all know that. I want to get that Mordax. I want to get the MSI Ram Lock from Microtech. I would like to get that. Now, I've heard mix on those. Some people get really good spring tension and some people don't. So that's one of those that I suspect you'd have to tune the spring on. I would love to get the Maximus, but that's going to be 2-3 years out before they're going to redo those. Unless they keep expanding. If Rick Hinder keeps expanding his shop, he might do them sooner. That's what I'm hoping. As far as new knives, I do want... I've been tempted. I just can't pull the trigger on it. But I would like to maybe consider looking at a bottom-of-the-line Herman Sting. Right? Or Stinger, I forget, Sting or Sting, I forget what it's called. But that one's probably, we're looking at a couple years off for that one. I'm not ready to invest in that one yet. But there's one by, who is the guy? It's made by Artisan Cutlery. Let me see if I can find him. That is one that I almost wanted to get on the pre-order, and I've kind of been tempted, but I just haven't pulled the trigger because it's kind of far off. Again, you know me and pre-orders. Where is it? Got to find the guy. Give me a second. I'm trying to look it up here while we're looking. See if I can find it. So at Blade Show, I know of one new knife that's coming out. I don't know the details. I really like my Arno Bernard, right? I like my Imamba. But I've been talking to the brothers, and I knew they're supposed to have a new folder, not a slip joint, but a new folder version that they're going to release at Blade Show. So they've had the Imamba for a while, right? But they're supposed to have a new variant of this at Blade Show. And I can tell you, I love this version so very much that I would really, really like to see that. I would like to see what that's going to be like. That would be cool. I would also like to see, I've been wanting the frame lock of this, but they're supposed to be releasing a Tanto blade version with the hollow grind. And that's something I know that he's been talking about, and you may see at Blade Show, and he may drop some after that. So that's something new that I could give up my frame lock, this kind of drop point, clip point, whatever type of blade for a Tanto version of that. Absolutely. There's, I want to say Megaron. Is it Megaron, the guys who they worked with? Now there's another one, Golden Works Design Work, or Golden Design Works. Has anyone done the pre-order in the Golden Design Works one? It looks appealing to me. I hear people say it looks too simple. I hear other people saying it's clean. It's kind of like a Laconico, beautiful, clean, and so it's a mixed bag. It really does appeal to me. But again, it was so far out for the pre-order, I wasn't sure. I don't know if anybody actually pulled a bullet on that one. That one looked interesting. What is the other one? Trying to find it. The Megaron one is the one that I was telling you about. I think that's the name of the guy. Let me see if I can find it if I'm following him. It's not Mr. Designs. It is. Oh, yeah. I can't figure it out. I can't find it right now. I would be really interested to see Brian Nadeau's 10th anniversary version of his I forget which one he's supposed to be coming out. It's the 10th anniversary one. He's supposed to do a larger version. I like Sharp by Design. I like their larger knives, and that design on his detent I think works really well on a larger blade, a heavier blade. I I don't think it works well on smaller blades. Now, some people love it, and that's cool, and that's awesome. If you like that double click thing, I think on a larger blade it works a little better, and I think it's not as noticeable and as present in this. It almost feels like it's a double, like you're double clicking past two detents, right? I don't care for that on his smaller, lighter blades, and so that's one I'm not. The phosphorus, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I was still looking. I was still looking while you did it. Dylan Mallory. Dylan Mallory. That's it. Yes. Uh, did anybody pre-order that one? See, the only reason why I'm also not tempted to order the phosphorus, it's a single deployment. It's a fuller only. And I know this is why it took me forever to order the F5.5, because it was a single way to deploy it. It only had a fuller. There was no way to deploy this any other way except for the fuller, right? And so I was like really disappointed. But then when I got it, I was very happy. But then I saw it had the full flat grind, and I realized I could do middle finger flicks. So as long as I've got an alternative way, more than one, to me that's the fidget factor. It makes it enjoyable. But if this works really, really well, then I'm okay with it. I have one knife that's it's a flipper only, and I don't have many of them. It's this Hive one by Tuya Knives, and I really like this. It's really crazy, but this is like the flipper that works beautifully for me. Now, if you notice, I think it's just above the pivot, the angle right there. So the action on this is beautiful, and the blade is sort of, it's not Persian, it's actually a flat back, but it looks like a Persian, but it's beautiful, beautiful hollow grind all the way up to the edge here. I don't know if you can see that. It's just ridiculous kind of hollow grind. Let's see if you can get close on that, if you can see that. But this one is one of the few single deployment ones that I like. So, I don't know. Now the Kickstart, yeah, I heard about that, the Kickstart Chavez. I think it was a Dave or who was it that got their Kickstart in today? Somebody got their Kickstart in just today, or was it just this week and you loved it? Who was that? Yeah. So there's the what is the other one? I think Urban EDC. Matter of fact, I got a text this weekend about it going on sale. I could have gotten it, I guess, a little cheaper. Let me see if I can find that text still. No, it's going to be, well, it would have been on my phone. It was Urban EDC. You know how you get the notifications? There's another one that has the Kickstart, Kickstop, whatever. It's an Orso design. I believe the guy is Orso. I think that one was really cool too. So the phosphor is coming out soon. So you know what I'll wait is to see if people really love it, and if it gets really great reviews, and the single deployment method is like amazing and worth it, right? I would consider that. Yeah. So the Chavez is what I've heard is supposed to be really amazing as far as with the kickstop, and that really does make a huge difference. It just gives it an extra ridiculous snap to it, and that makes it fantastic. Like the IQ, the large IQ, I was really excited about that one, but I didn't. The detent, the cutaway for the frame lock was uncomfortable to the point that I couldn't really fidget with it. But it had a single kind of a flipper on there, and it worked well, and it was a beautiful, clean, tight design. But I think that's I the the Chavez hasn't really pulled me in. Most of there's a couple of them that allure me, that pull me in a little bit, but it's not a knife in my wheelhouse, my aesthetic, right? And because I haven't handled one, I can't say that I would love it. So it's not one I go out of my way to get. Yeah, I saw Neve's Knives review on that, and I saw he thought it was amazing, and he was mad because he couldn't keep it, and he's already allocated his funds for Blade Show, and so he's got to figure a way to get there, and so he didn't know what knives he had to move in order to get it because he knew he was gonna get it. He just wasn't sure how he was gonna get it. That was what it came down to. I remember that review. It was kind of funny. And I feel like that about some knives, but I don't get the luxury like he does. I don't get to check some of these knives out and then go, yeah, I want this. For instance, the Rick Hinder and Maximus. If you look at it, it just looks like a really weird knife, and it's not one that I'll go out of my way to get. But I got to handle one at a knife store up in Dallas when they actually had two of them, and I still kick myself for not getting one of them. But when I got it, it was it was the one Rick Hinder knife that felt amazing above all the other ones. It was phenomenal. So I wonder if the the Chavez with the kickstop is going to be like that, because I know the Orso is supposed to be like that. But here's the thing: the Orso is supposed to be like that, but there's still a lot of inventory at a lot of different knife stores of this knife. And if there's a lot of inventory of a knife, part of me says, and I get, did they order so much that they have too much inventory, or did they order so much that there wasn't as high interest as they anticipated, right? And sometimes that could be, maybe it's not as good as they thought everyone would think it is, or maybe they just had too many knives and not many as people bought it because it didn't appeal to their aesthetic, or maybe it just was something that was people didn't like about it. So Brian Nadeau, every one of his knives always sell out, and his knives are amazing. And I had a Mini Tempest, I loved it, but when he had I think the Void, the Mini Void, it didn't do as well because there was some issues with the pocket clip, and people weren't happy about that. Now there's some workarounds to get around that, but it was one of those knives that didn't sell out right away, and I wondered why. And then it came out that it was the pocket clip, and people had some issues and this and that, and so then I was like, okay, and I never got it because you know I just listened to that. Okay, so the Winter Blade Factor. So I am in the pass around for the Winter Blade Factor. I wanted to order it, but I get a sample of it coming up here in the near future where I actually get to review it, so I can actually determine how I feel about it and see if I can get in on the buzz. It looks really cool. I liked it when it first came out, and I love innovation. But after a while, I was looking at the aesthetic as a knife for everyday carry, and I wasn't sure if it was still going to have that appeal to me, you know? And I don't know. I'd like to handle it, and so I'm looking forward to finding out if that is going to be one of those knives that I will then seek out to acquire, right? The Chavez is one of those that I'm not sure about, and I'd like to handle that. The Voodoo, the Knoll Voodoo is one of those. Now, the Knoll Voodoo, I got a full disclosure here and be honest. The Knoll Voodoo, I had a chance. He had a drop, and I thought I could get in on it. As soon as it became available, within 1 second, I put it in my cart. Within 20 seconds, I was trying to close out. It sold out. I had never had something in my cart, and within the 20 seconds when when I was clicking to save, it was already gone. Now that happened with, well, the MSI RAM lock from Microtech. I've gone to when they dropped it, and as soon as I went to when the drop occurred, and I didn't know exactly when it occurred, but I went over there within a minute, they were all gone anyway. So I've never had it in my cart where I could buy it. But what is it, the Voodoo, the Knoll Voodoo, I got a little bitter about it because I was like, I put it in my, and then there was another one that was still available. It was a different color that looked like it wasn't as popular. I put it in my cart. I went to go complete the sale, and it was sold out too. And it looked like it was available. And I thought it was one of those things where if I had clicked on, I guess, the second one, I would have had it, but I didn't know that. So it was a little frustrating. I don't care. I know some things are like that, but if you've already dropped a knife 4 or 5 times, and every time it sells out like that, honestly, part of me is like, that's when your inventory levels need to go up. Okay, and here's a point for me. EMP EDC, the Relative, they did that. They went up in their quantities. They're ordering more and larger quantities of these knives. So when they dropped the pre-order for this, they dropped some sales of these. Within the first hour, you could get a variant of this. Everyone bought the MagnaCut, but I was able to get this within the first half hour. And there was enough, if you went over there, you didn't have to be within the first 5 seconds to get this. If you went on the site within an hour, you could have gotten one of these. It may not have been the color you want, but you could have gotten one of these. And that's because he's ordering significantly more quantities. He still sells out of them all. But I appreciate that. I appreciate the chance to get one. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree. They should take orders. And see, that's the thing with the EMP EDC. He took orders. He took orders for the LMAX version. So even if you missed the drop when they had some available, he would have taken orders for several hours. You could have gotten one. There's no question. If you really wanted one, and you wanted to get there the day when he announced well ahead when he was taking the pre-orders, anybody who wanted a Relative can get one. That's the thing. If you knew when the drop was. Now, if you didn't know and you found out about it too late, then yeah, you missed it. But that was not one of those where if you went there and it dropped within a second, you put it in your cart and it was gone within 20 seconds. That to me is just really frustrating. I don't know about how you guys feel about that. I mean, yeah, yeah. So the RAM lock is the one that I would like to get, but I hear more and more reviews on it, and now I'm not sure if I want to get it. So let me explain why I say that. It's not because I don't think it's a really cool knife or anything, but the size of that knife, I realize that now that is a large knife. It's almost a 9-inch knife, and this is almost at my maximum size. This is, what is this? Let me see. I'll just measure it here off the screen. This is it's almost a 9-inch knife. It's an 8.5-inch knife. It's a little closer to, yeah, it's 8 3/4 inches knife. It's almost too big, right? And the reason why I say that, it works and everything, but I can tell you to leverage the clip, which I like to do, especially for a button lock, you need to use the deep pocket carry clip sometimes to get a good grip, because over here, to use that clip, you've got to be careful, right? And to get a good grip over here to do the flip, you have to really squeeze tight on the 2 sides to hold on to it if you can't leverage the clip. I hear the RAM lock is pretty heavy blade. It's a large blade, it's bigger, And so part of me wonders, is that going to be a hard blade to deploy? Is it going to be one of those where, because I know Tri-State had one and he wasn't very happy. Let's say he's probably got medium-sized hands. I have medium to medium large. They're large width-wise, but probably medium lengthwise. And because when I wear large gloves, I can get my fingers in very comfortably. When I wear medium gloves, I squeeze my fingers in and I can touch the tip, but I really have to expand out to a large, right? So I wonder if that length and that large size is going to be like that. So I had an Annex, really liked the Microtech Annex, but it was so big, so large. It wasn't. I didn't carry it, and as soon as I had it, I really liked everything about it, but it was just so big, and I realized, yeah, I don't think so. So that was for me. Oh, it's illegal to conceal and carry, I should say. So what is the Colorado law? Is there a certain length on how long a knife can be? Do you have a length on a knife? And then does it have to be displayed? Because I think in North Carolina, I think they have like a 3-inch blade rule. I know in some cities you can't have over a 2.5-inch blade or a 3-inch blade. I mean, I'm in Texas. The only law we have is if you're under 18, you can only carry up to a 5.5-inch blade. And if you're under 18 and you want to carry over a 5.5-inch blade, you just have to have your parents around, or you have to be doing something like fishing or hunting, and then it's perfectly fine. But if you're around with your parents, you can carry over a 5.5-inch blade. But anybody can carry an under a 5.5-inch blade, and that's under 18. So I can give my son, this knife, and they can carry this no problem. Just not in school, because there's school policy against this, right? But they could easily carry this, and it would not be illegal for them to carry in their pocket, concealed or showing or whatever. So Texas is a little more free in that area to conceal it. So you can't conceal it. So is this, when you do a deep pocket carry clip like that, is that considered concealed then? Is that what it is? That's considered? Oh, so you can carry a large knife if it's not concealed. So it has to be out and displayed, like in a holster or just in a sheath or something like that. I got you. Okay, I see what you're saying. Depends on the cop. Okay. Well, I've heard in New York, the New York law is that if they can take a knife and they can flick it open, then that's considered an illegal knife. I should ask everyday city carry. I'm sure he could tell us a little more about that, because I think on carrying it, you have to be careful on something like that. Yeah, I can carry a sword if you want to. Yep. Open carry, anything. The only, and the thing is, the restriction on carrying knives in school is really up to the school district, right? It's a school district or city ordinance, because there's some school districts in Texas that are very rural. And so all the kids are out working on the farm, they're working on the pasture, cutting bales of hay, they're feeding the animals, and they come straight from work with their boots, and they got manure all over them, and they got their buck knife on the side. They might have just castrated some cows or something, or steers, I should say. You don't castrate cows, obviously. They would have castrated some steers, and so they might have come right in from there, and they would have had their pocket knife. And that's not a big deal if everyone's like that. That's a school policy. So in Texas, you can carry a knife. Like, I can carry a pocket knife into school where my kids are. Myself personally, I just can't carry, you can't carry weapons in school, obviously, but you can carry a pocket knife, just a considered simple pocket, discreet knife. No one in Texas really considers that any sort of weapon. Everyone considers it a tool. It's a tool. It's a tool to use to open something. Someone needs a pocket knife to open something. They're like, you can ask that in Texas, right? 1 minute knife for you can do that, and boom, everyone will pull out a knife for you. My wife will have two pocket knives in her purse. My sister-in-law, she'll have at least one pocket knife in her purse. Since she came to Texas, that was the first thing I got her, was a pocket knife. Matter of fact, I sharpened hers and my wife's pocket knives last night. They were like, my knife's not cutting as well. And I'm like, okay, well, let me fix that. So I'm like, yep, it's razor sharp again. You can shave your arms if you need to. Yeah, so it's different in different schools in different states, right? In Texas, it's like that. But that's also because, like, my son works as an FFA, and they, you're not supposed to carry pocket knives, but those kids, when they're working in the stalls, in the barns, they got to cut bales of hay, they got to open up feed, and you usually have to borrow a knife from the FFA teacher who has to have a pocket knife, or somebody has to have access to a knife somehow to be able to do their work. You know, how do you get the bales of hay open? It's just a matter of what the law, right? It's a matter of how you, the area and the district, right? So if you're in an inner city, I can definitely see that probably be more of a concern, because most people wouldn't carry a pocket knife for just regular stuff, maybe in certain areas. I don't know. Yeah, so I can see that in Colorado. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I know Ohio, I think, used to have really, really strong, strict knife laws, and they've been able to undo all of those. Yeah, California, they have their automatic knife. It has to be is it under 2 inches for the blade? That's why you see a bunch of those Protex with those little, the runts and stuff. They'll have the little super stubby knives. And that's the thing. It's a tool. It is a tool. Anything can be a weapon. Do you know 98% of all knife attacks, knife crimes, knife attempted murder or murders and all that stuff, they all occur with kitchen knives, with a kitchen butcher knife. That's the number one weapon, and it's a kitchen knife. It's not one of these knives. These are rarely, rarely ever used in a crime. Rarely ever used. Because most of these people, you know, have knives for tools to use in work or something. It is 2 inches for California, yeah. Yeah, you can carry a sword now. You, you know, the thing about the nice thing about that 1 minute knife review, like if you go to Renaissance fairs, then it's cool because everyone carries a sword there, and there's no worry about that, right? Yeah, it's a passion knife, a crime of passion. But when people go out to do something, they want a really sharp, thin, deep poking kind of tool for that. And kitchen knives tend to be, unfortunately, a tool of opportunity, and a tool of a tool that they can use in the passion of the crime, or in the midst of the passion within the crime, right? So yeah, yeah, they use machetes, or they're giant kitchen knives, because you can get a kitchen knife that looks like a machete too, right? So that's another one. But you're right, there are a few crazy machetes. Hey, Tyler Williams, welcome. We're just talking knives. We had to give away earlier at 7 o'clock, 7:30 actually. So we're just chit-chatting and talking knives here, probably for the next hour or so. So a machete is definitely going to be a little bit longer. Yeah, and that's, to me, if you get a machete and you're attempting to do something illegal, I suspect that that was probably premeditated. That was probably something that you got a tool because you intended to do something. You already had something in your mind you planned to do, right? And that, to me, is the definition of premeditation. Legally, it is too, right? So whereas kitchen knives tend to be a crime of passion, where you can get into second or third degree kind of misdemeanors or felonies or whatever. You know, it can change how they look at it. Yeah. Oh, I bet they're exquisites, David. I bet. A kukri. Well, a lot of some of the tanto designs are from the Japanese sort of type of design in knives, right? There's some really beautiful. I know it's a little different when it comes from a Japanese tanto. It's not quite as similar to what we see as a traditional tanto, like this right here. You know, it's still a tanto with a tip, because there's officially a tip there, but it's rounded. I think the Japanese, it tends to be a little higher, but it is more rounded. It's not as flat, right? It has a little rounded tip, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have any of the Japanese style version of that, but I think they're cool. I'm planning on taking a limb. A Sakamari Yanagiba. Wow. That is that the name of a knife, or was that a phrase? Because I don't know what that means. Or is that the name of the knife maker? I know I think everyday city carry, by the way, I was speaking to Rocky, when you're talking about this, the laws and what you can carry. I think a lot of his knives that he has, I don't know he can carry all of those knives, right? He has a lot of knives and a lot of axes. He can look at them in his house, but I suspect he can't go through New York City with many of those knives, unfortunately. Sword shaped, yeah. Type of sushi knife. Yeah, so is that the ones with the little hollow bevels inside? So when you do the slicing, it's supposed to give a little separation and allow it not to stick together. And it's usually at a 17-degree angle and it's a much thinner blade. Is that the one you're talking about? So, sort of one of those chef ones. Some of them are kind of worn, I want to say Warncliffe kind of shape. They have a kind of a curve to them and they're flat bellied sometimes with a slight roundedness if you want it to roll it as you're chopping. A chisel ground, yeah. Is that what's called, chisel ground, when they cut it in? We have two of those knives, and they're oh, who's our? We have some really nice knives, and we've had them forever. I should know this because I was sharpening last night. They are not Wusthof. They're the other German manufacturer. Wow, I was just sharpening last night. Not Henkel. Well, maybe they're Wusthof. Maybe they're Wusthof. I thought there was another one. Anyways, the point of it is, I like those knives, and they cut nicely, especially when you're doing tomatoes that tend to stick together, or cucumbers. They work really nicely. So, out of curiosity, what was your carry for today? For everybody who's still here, what did you all carry today? I can tell you what I carried today. I carried my Pulsar, and I used it. I just cleaned it up right before the show because it had sap and everything all over it. And I wanted to carry it because I wanted to open up the box that came in, which was the Maverick. This will be my carry probably tomorrow. You'll probably see a video or two on this one very shortly, at least a short, because I'm super excited about that. You had a Mannix Monday. That's cool. I like that. You know, I should have done a mini Malice Monday. That would have made sense, right? Yeah, I forget about that. Titanium Thursday, or I don't know, what is it? Titanium Tuesday, and then what do you do for Wednesday? A Warncliffe Wednesday? A Warney Pyrite? Ah, nice. An Opinel 6. Ah, you like the Opinels, don't you, Tyler? You know, there are people who love the Opinels and there are people who don't. I don't think there's anybody in between usually. That's one of those knives you love or you don't. I think there's several other knives that are like that. Some people love or they don't. I know there's some people who absolutely do not like frame locks or liner locks, and they love butt locks and axis locks. I don't know. You had your little TRM nerd. Oh, that's a good. I never got a nerd because I always wondered if it was too small. But I have wanted to get the Neutron. I have an Atom, and I like that. And I almost pulled the trigger on the titanium scales for it because I have the red fat carbon scales. I really like those. But man, that titanium scales look like it'd be just crazy nice. You do have a few. So, you know, what is it? The Metal Complex is not a big fan of the Opinel, but he has one Opinel that he loves. I think it's that. What is it? It's that gigantic one. It looks like a sword. Is that like the Opinel 13 or 18 or whatever? That's a huge one. Do you have that one? I'm just curious because that looks fun. That looks like a fun Opinel. So you had your TRM Nerd. How was your Nerd spec'd out? Did you have like micarta? Did you have G10? Did you have titanium? Did you have carbon fiber? The T. Oh, so you have the titanium scales on that one? Is that what I'm understanding for your little TRM Nerd? Now is that the holy Nerd, or is it the Nerd without the hole? That just kind of has the fuller cutout. Okay, so you have the smaller keychain, the 6 and 8. The Holy Nerd. Okay, for you. The Holy Nerd for the for the TRM. Do you know Tyler, which one I'm talking about? I think it's the OpenL 13 or 18. I forget the number, but it looks, if I was going to get an OpenL, honestly, that's probably the one I'd get because it just looks like a fun big knife. I'm not into big, huge, giant knives, but that one looks like it'd be cool. Uh-oh, looks like the image is getting all fuzzy again, like the connection. I may have to reconnect real quick. Do you guys, are you all seeing it pretty fuzzy? Because it looks like it's dropping in and out. Let me drop and come back real quick. Is that all right? You okay with that so that we can have a better image? Because I don't like. Can you hear me at least? Is the audio there? Because it's saying on my camera it's connected, but I'm not seeing it feed through. So let me try one more time. See if what's going on. Oh wait, it looks like it's coming through. Hold on, before I disconnect. Yeah, it looks like it's through. Is that a little better? Looks like it's a little bit clearer too. It's not as fuzzy, I think. All right, cool, excellent. Awesome. Okay, cool. Did somebody say beef jerky? Bite into a Slim Jim? You know what that makes me think of? Rowdy Piper. I was not a wrestling fan, but I couldn't help but like those commercials, right? Bite into a Slim Jim, whatever. I won't do the voice. Apparently, I used to be able to do the voice well, but that might date me here a little bit for some of you guys. But some guys might know who that is, and then some of the younger folk, they're going to be like, what the heck is he talking about? So I really like the contour and the shape, by the way, of the Maverick. If you guys haven't had a chance to get a hold of this, I was on the waiting list for this. I was 1,500, way down on the list. And I think after couple of months or a month, I think I got to 1,400. And then DLT Trading had a drop of these. And they had the Richlight ones and the titanium ones. And I was there and I couldn't believe they were there. And I went back and I checked it and it was still there. And I thought, okay, well, let me try. And I ordered one. And sure enough, I didn't get sniped in the cart. And I got it. And then I even told Metal Complex about it. And then he posted about it too. Because he couldn't believe that it was for real. And so then he shared it. And of course, then it sold out. I mean, hopefully some of you guys got a chance to see it early, and if you wanted one, you could get one before Metal Complex posted, because then it would definitely go really quick with him posting. Oh, you just got your email for your Maverick today, so you're getting it directly from Tactile Knife Company. Yeah, I'm way down on the list. What number were you when you first signed up, Tyler? I was 1535 or 1585. I can't quite remember. As of the day that I bought that, I was down to 1480 or something like 1430. I can't remember. It's like somewhere in the 1400s. I dropped from the 1500s to the 1400s, and that was it. Starting Rowdy Randy. You were 13, 14? Really? And you got your email that it was available today? That's interesting. I wonder if I'm going to get an email for it soon too. I was a little higher than you, but that makes me wonder if it's if they're pumping them out a lot faster. I mean, obviously, because they've got inventory at some of the distributors, some of the knife vendors. Okay, so the Maverick is a Tactile Knife Company. So if you're familiar with Tactile Knife Company, they make the Rockeye, which came out as a flipper, Rockwall, excuse me, the Rockwall, which came out as a flipper first. And I bought that one. I had that one. I liked it a lot. The only problem was it was not, they were free-floating ceramic balls in there, so if you took it apart, you'd have to put all those balls back, and it was a little challenging. And it was really nice. And then they had the thumb stud version, which was really cool, but it was a smaller version. It was probably about yay big and half the width of this Benchmade bug out. And I had, the thumb studs were difficult for my hand. I couldn't get my hand in there, and it was a little uncomfortable for me to use. And so I ended up selling it because it would hurt my thumb. So I got meaty thumb fingers, right? And every once in a while I cut them on my knives, but I've got meaty fingers. They're not skinny little dainty fingers, right? So they're not saying dainty, but they're not skinny fingers. Let's put it that way. And as a result, it was uncomfortable. So I sold both my rock walls, and this looked like it was very appealing. Now I have a dread eye, a fixed blade dread eye that I love. It's a great fixed blade. It's my only fixed blade that I carry and use. Really, really like the dread eye. It's perfect size for EDC and what have you. But this looked really appealing, and they make this one in micarta, Richlite micarta, which is a Richlite material, which is kind of like synthetic wood, but it's micarta kind of woven. Some people are fans, some people aren't. My Martin guitar, my one I had before this one had Richlite neck on it, so it's kind of a cool synthetic wood. This is the titanium version. Now it is steel liners with a titanium scales on top, so they can do. Obviously, they'll at some point, like they do with the rock walls, they'll have all sorts of patterns on this and colors and anodizations, and I can see all that coming, right? But this is a axis lock or able lock, and it has a lock bar here. Works really well. Some people complained that it was a little too soft for them. Some people like really, really hard detents, or lock bar resistance really is what you call it. There's no detent in this. And so you can fix that with either a different Omega spring, but they're made in the USA in Texas. And so it's a USA made knife. Everything here is sourced USA. There's nothing from overseas. Even some of the small screws or whatever they get is some more sourced locally. So this is a 100% USA made knife. But that's a big deal, because a 100% sourced USA knife compared to a Chinese knife, you're looking at twice the cost, right? I mean, this is a great knife. I love this one. This is fantastic. This is absolutely a great job. But what you can get over in China is a lot lower cost labor and assembly and what have you. So you're obviously going to get more for your money over there with that. But the quality of this, they also do an outstanding job. This is MagnaCut steel. The MagnaCut steel is heat treated to 63 to 64 Rockwell hardness, which is ideal for MagnaCut, which means that you get your edge retention, you get your strength, you get your salt water resistance. This is almost as good as a saltwater knife too. And I just cut myself there, so excuse me one second. Like a dummy, I'm gonna have to get a little napkin. So excuse me one second while I get that. So I'll show that on camera, right? I was too busy talking and not paying attention, so sorry about that. I'm sure everybody has done that before, but there we go. Now I've done it. But it is a fantastic knife. They do such a good job. What they're known for, just so you know, they started off making the tactile turn pins, and these are amazing pins. They sell these everywhere. The milling on here is just wonderful. It's just simply amazing. And I love this one. This one has a Timascus little button here, and it just deploys like that. Ooh. My screw got loose up on top there. That's first. But these are great pins. I like these pins a lot. I have this one, and this is a great pin to use every day. Love this. So they decided to try it at knives, and they did a fantastic job with the knife. Really, really have. They also make a little slip joint. It's called a Bear, I believe. I'm not a slip joint fan, as you all know. I've been toying with the idea of eventually maybe getting a slip joint. I'm just not sure if I'm ready to take the plunge, because I'm not sure if I'm really going to be a fan of a slip joint, right? That's, again, some people love slip joints and some people don't. And I'm not sure if I would love a slip joint, honestly. And it's a lot of money to put in on something you're not sure about, right? So the question I have to ask myself, is that really something I want to spend money on? So for those of you guys who love slip joints, you may be fine. All right, we're all good. Got a Band-Aid. All right. Don't do that. Don't be talking with your hands and flipping. That's not smart, okay? You don't want to do that, especially with a knife that's this sharp. It's crazy sharp. So, yeah. All right. They MagnaCut. MagnaCut's gonna cut, right? Oh, that's great. That would be a good knife commercial, right? Your MagnaCut's gonna cut. Yeah, I like that. Not tri-state fingers, right? Well, Sensor 226, welcome. How's it going? Yeah, we're just chit chatting, talking knives. I just cut my finger, waving my hand and flicking a knife, which I don't recommend doing. And as Michael pointed out, Magna cuts. Magna cut me, it's gonna cut you. So that's hilarious. So Tyler, you're looking at the Jack Wolf. I have been really interested in the Jack Wolf knives. That they have tempted me. If I was going to get one, it would be a Jack Wolf, or it's going to be the QSP. What is the one that they have? There's a QSP little slip joint. Traditional pocket knife sells it with the jig titanium handles. That one looks really interesting. That's one I've been interested in as well. But yeah, the Magna Cut is that's this one. So did I explain the Magna Cut well enough for you? Did I help you figure it out? If you haven't checked it out, look Tactile Knife Company. Look them up on the web, and you can see a lot of their knives. They make these. They do all their milling and sourcing in the USA, and they're trying to ramp up their production so they could actually do OEM work for other folks. They do really excellent milling. Their parameters and their tolerances are very tight, so that produces really great work, which is really hard to do. I mean, for anybody to get into that, that's a hard thing to do in the USA. It requires a lot of money and a lot of investment. And they were able to do it because they started, like I said, they started off with the pins, and this is like one of the best pins out there. You'll see these sold at just about everywhere. And this is a very basic one, right? But they have tons of variations of these types. The Hedgehog, that's what it is. I was thinking about that. If I was going to try it, I was thinking of the traditional pocket knives Hedgehog, the one that had the jig titanium scales. It seemed like it was within the price range of okay to try to see if I would like it. It had a unique design that if I was going to get a slip joint and I wanted something to be super slicey with a hollow point, with a hollow cut or hollow grind, that would be it. And it would tell me whether I'd be interested in the Jack Wolf knives. Now, Jack Wolf knives, if you like slip joints, his stuff's amazing. I mean, it is beautiful. I enjoy looking at that stuff. I appreciate it. It's not quite my cup of tea, at least where I'm at, right? Because slip joints aren't my cup of tea yet. I'm afraid to open that door because what if I love it? Burkles karaoke, welcome. Good evening. Good to see you. Yeah, we've just been talking. We started at 7, so we're probably going to go till about another 45 minutes, I suspect. And then we'll probably be wrapping it up. But we're just talking knives, talking slip joints right now about whether we want to take the dive. I think I'm the one that's on the edge here. I think a couple other people might also be. Oh, the Terravantium. I've been really interested in looking at the Terravantium. 1 minute knife review. You have to tell me when you do some testing on the edge retention and how tough it is. Does it chip easily? How easy is it to sharpen? I'm very curious about that one. That one looks really, really interesting. That one and the Cobalt Adrenium. What is it? Is it the what is that other one? There's the Terravantium and the other one, the one that's like kind of almost like a black blade, or it looks like it's all scratched up. You know what I'm talking about? Somebody here who has one. That is another one that I've been really looking forward to getting into my collection. See if I can find that one. It's on my wish list at White Mountain Knives and a couple other places. Dendritic Cobalt, that's it. And there's one company that makes a lot of them, but the one I want is the one that's either the titanium scales or the zirconium scales. The zirconium scales is a little more expensive, a little heavier too, obviously, but that one is really cool too. Somebody remembers off the top of their head what the name of that company is. You probably will remember before I can even find it. I'm going to look. If I find it before anybody knows, I'll let you know. It is. Where are we? There we are. I'm looking it up. I have to sign in here real quick, so give me just a second. Dendritic Cobalt. Is it the Train 365? Let me see if that's what it's called. I have it on my wish list, so I'm going to look here real quick. It is. Oh no, that's my order history. Oh, I bought a lot of knives. Probably more knives than I should have. Okay, didn't realize that. You ever look at your order history and you kind of go, that's a lot of knives. Anyways, okay, yeah, it's the the Sandrin Monza, and then the Sandrin Monza. So there's one that's in zirconium handle, and then there's the one that's it's this one right here, the zirconium handle one. It's one of the Sandrin knives. It's unique, right? If you look at this and you can see how it's all scratched up on the blade, but that's how it's made. It's that dendrit, dendritic cobalt. Boy, I can't talk, right? Well, this one is the tungsten carbide, I think. I think that's what they call it, tungsten carbide. Yeah, so this one's tungsten carbide blade. It's like 67 Rockwell hardness or 71 Rockwell hardness. And it's supposed to, it's supposed to need to sharpen it for a few years. Yeah, I was having a little trouble with that, and the pronunciation didn't. I don't know why. Yeah, because if you look at the Sandrin, let me see if I can look up here. There's another version of the Sandrin that they do sell that's a slip joint version. So those of you guys who love Sandrins, that's interesting. And then they also sell, okay, so a lot of people will probably know this one. And I think, Rocky, we were talking about this last time. This looks like a Milwaukee Home Depot knife, right? It looks like something you'd find at Milwaukee like a Milwaukee knife you'd buy at the Home Depot, because the orange handle is just, I mean, for a knife and the steel that's that nice, or not steel, I guess, whatever you want to call it, material that's nice. It just seems like a shame, right? But the one that I like is this black zirconium, and then they have the regular just titanium. But the ones that they sell are these guys right here, and these edges are really, really polished. I don't know if you can see that. They're super polished, and I suspect they scratched up pretty easily. Yeah, so that's, well, I don't know. Maybe it's polished. Maybe it's a coating that they put on the ones that are polished, the slip joint versions. Maybe they're like that because they're more of a, it's a coating or something. I don't know. I've been really interested in getting one. That's one of those that I'd like to get into my collection. That's one that I've been looking forward to. How about anybody else thinking about anything new? I do know, I also know, and I saw the conversation on Knife Nuts podcast. I'm pretty sure at Blade Show, Tactile Knife Company is going to be coming out with one or two new knives that we're not going to hear about until Blade Show, and when we'll hear about it at Blade Show. So there's going to be some new knives that are in the works, ready to be released. So I think I'm really good with where I'm at with some of the knives that I have that I can actually get a hold of. But I'm thinking after Blade Show, that list is going to get pretty big. What about you guys? So I'm not going to Blade Show in Atlanta. It's kind of far away. I think it's 7 to 9 hours at least, maybe 13. I got to look up in the map, but it's pretty far. I wish I'd gone to the one in Texas, but I missed that one. Is anybody here going to the Blade Show? And if not, are there any knives that you are really looking forward to hearing about at Blade Show? I would. There's one knife that I'm really interested in. It is the Andrew Demko. He's supposed to have a variant that he talked about at. It was either Texas Gun Show. It was either the gun show in the beginning of the year, or it was at Texas Blade Show. He was talking about a new variant of like sort of the 80-20.5. It's supposed to be an in-between knife. Does anybody remember hearing about that? I haven't heard any traction on that, but I've been really love to see that one get released at some point. Oh, a mini Arius, that would be cool. Yeah, Herman even did a mini Stinger, which if you know that, that's a big deal, and that's a super popular knife for them now, and they are making them. And matter of fact, DLT even had a drop on the Hermans, which I couldn't believe. You could actually get a Herman for like $825, which for Herman that's a great deal. Out of my range, but definitely a great deal if you wanted a Herman. Yeah, I would love an Arius. I think that would be a really cool knife. That's another one of those knives, the full size, if I'm not mistaken, it's like over 9 inches, isn't it? Isn't the Arius, not the mini Arius, but the large one, isn't it like over 9 inches? It's a big, hefty knife. I mean, it's definitely not a smaller knife. There's another one. There's the there's one coming out from Kaiser, and I think it's Damn Design that had a hand in it. It's the trying to remember the name of that one. Is it the Damn version or the Damn Blade? Or I forget what they call it, but it kind of has a hollow grind on there. That one looked kind of interesting. It might be more of a budget knife, but it looked like it would be really, really cool, kind of interesting to get a hold of. But it's not new, so there you go. Oh, Ware Knives is supposed to be. They had a pre-release on a knife that looked really cool. It reminded me a little bit of Brian Brown. Now, Brian Brown, he had that one that was kind of a Warncliffe, and it was a hollow grind. There was a Ware version. Ware Blades was supposed to come out with one, but again, it was a pre-order, and I didn't want to get on the pre-order. And I'm sure that's the only way you can get a hold of it. It looked cool, but if it's such a pre-order way ahead of time, I'm probably not going to be getting it. Yeah, that mini Arius sounds really cool. Do you think they'll make enough where it's not one of those where you have to be in the first 3 seconds to get it, and you have to be able to process that payment within the fourth second in order for you to actually be able to close the deal? So if you actually have to like input your data or click on something, you're not going to get it. Oh, you flipped an Arius? Are they big? Are they huge? Is it really a large, I mean, so the question, I guess, for you is, 1 minute, so I got medium to medium large hands, right? Do you have large hands? Do you have medium hands? Do you have extra large hands? Because I know some people, they've got gargantuan hands. Like if you think of Jim Skelton or, some of those guys, they have, some of them have humongous hands. What is it, OCD for EDC? He's got gargantuan hands. The guy who does Knife Center, I forget his name with the beard, his hands are giant bear paws, right? I don't have that size hands. Mine are medium to medium large. So I look at, I might be just a little bit bigger than, Tri-State's hands, but his are probably a little thinner and longer. Mine are going to be a little meatier and shorter. Yeah, Tyler, I would agree with you. I don't hold my breath. It's kind of like how I feel about the MSI. I want to get it, but I don't know if I'm ever going to get my hands on it. It's kind of like my ProTech Mordax. And I got to be honest with you, now that I have my Love Them knives, which ironically is really phenomenal, and I had a Mordax, mind you. I had the drop Mordax on the 20 CV. And now that I have the Exciton, I feel like my button lock desire for a knife is really, for a really nice button lock, I'm not as, it's not as much of a, quest for me to get the Mordax. So the MSI, with all the reviews and how big it is kind of falling. It's not high on my list anymore. I will tell you the McNeese is still huge on my list because I've handled it and I love it. The frame lock version of that one is, yeah, that's one of those that I really want in my collection really badly. And if you're going to get an EMP from EDC, this is still my absolute favorite knife. I think this is his best that he's ever done. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Nimble X is nice, and I have it, but this is my absolute favorite. What about you guys? What's another one that you guys are looking for big time? Wait, you got a Mac 2 now. Is it an auto Mac 2 or is it a frame lock Mac 2, Tyler? Which Mac 2 did you get? Did you get the auto? And if you got the auto, did you get the aluminum handles or did you get the titanium handles? because I got the aluminum handles and I didn't realize there was going to be a bunch of titanium handles out, but I'm okay with that. Oh, you got the 3-inch frame lock. Did you get it new or did you get it like secondhand market? Because I have been hunting for that. I That's one of those where I don't know, I might consider even a 3-inch just because I really want that one. I handled that at a gun show, and I have to admit, that was one of those knives that once you handle it, you're like, oh, because it looks like this. It doesn't look like much, but once you put this in your hand and you squeeze it, I don't know, Tyler, if you felt like this with yours, but you put this in your hand, it just fits. I mean, the ergonomics on this knife is insane. Now, speaking of that, if you got that one, did you get their Lynch clip that they just came out with? This is their exclusive Lynch clip. You should get this. I got this directly from McNee's website. This clip is awesome. It's a deep carry clip. It's an actual McNee's carry clip. And look, even the ramp on here, it clears the screws and everything. Can you see that? And it goes in your pocket, in and out, really nice. It's a little expensive, but it's really worth it. It makes the knife worth, I would say it increases the value of your knife at least $100 because it's like a $92 clip. But there's a lot of milling involved if you look at this and the milling that's involved. It's not just here. There's explicit milling, and the way they even chamfer the inside of that cutout is there's a lot of little details that are really nice in here. But yeah, I didn't mind the current clip either. I really didn't. But I like the idea of the deep carry, and I enjoyed the other one, and it felt very comfortable in my pocket. But with the deep carry, I really, really liked that. I don't know. For me, it was I was willing to go for it. And truth be told, truth here, I would put the other clip right back. If I get that frame lock, I would put this one on the frame lock, okay? So I got this thinking that I can always put this on the frame lock version if I ever get a hold of that. So yeah, so that may not always stay on this one, but that's all right. Is yours, by the way, as smooth and buttery as all the other ones that I've handled? Okay, so Danny, you got the Chavez Redemption, make sure I'm saying that correctly, 229 kickstop. Do you have that one in? Is that the one you have in hand? Was I talking to you about that one? I think in comments or something like that. Is that the one that you have or you're looking to get? You're not yet, okay? Because I have heard, you're not the only one, I've heard a lot of good things about that. And the people who reviewed it, I've heard good things. Neves Knives had a great review on it. Other people have said it's really amazing. And, that was the thing about the Chavez. It looked like it was limited in some of it. And I've heard people, it's bulky knife, it's beautiful, it's well done. Don't get me wrong, Riot did an outstanding job. But it's not like the flipping is just so amazing that you're all, like, it's just cool. I've heard with the, with the kickstop, it's supposed to be just, it puts it over the edge. Just really is amazing. Oh, okay. That's Makuma EDC. All right. I'll have to let me write that down because I really would be interested in that. Is the shipping a lot when you get it from there? I mean, my only worry is like, is there any excise tax or anything like that? I'm hoping it's not too bad. So I go to the McNee's website and I look at their list of dealers, and I usually do all the U.S. ones. I haven't looked at the international because I thought they would be crazy expensive. Oh, that's not bad. That is not bad at all. Okay. All right. Now you have me. I'm gonna do a quick look while we're here. Unfortunately, I don't have the ability yet to share what I look at. So if I'd like to get to that point where I can get that hooked up and do so. I think that might be kind of fun if we could do that. Makuma. Oh, okay. Now, if everybody else is going there and they find it before I do and they all buy it, then there you go. Then my chance of getting it are gone. That would be funny. But that's all right. If you guys find a good knife, that's totally understandable. Hey, speaking of that, I see that they have that James brand, that new Axis Lock James brand. I've actually, is that the USA made version of it? Because there's a USA made version of the James brand lock. I'm not typically a James brand fan, but I have liked several of their things. I'm actually an affiliate, and I say that because once I saw some of their newer stuff, the USA made version, I'm a big fan of that one. I really would like to get a hold of that one, but again, that's one of those hard to find knives. So that kind of changed me when they made that USA version. That one looked really, really cool. But again, I've only seen reviews. It's been hard to find. Let me see if I can find a McNeese there. All right, so it's out of stock right now, but that's not bad, actually. Wow. Well, let me see if I can get on their mailing list. Oh, yeah, I can put my email in there. Okay. Let me put my email in there. All right, so I can get notified. Cool. That would be awesome. Hey, thanks for the heads up. I appreciate that. Cool. All right. Yeah, I was looking for the McNeese knife and I found this one website that had it, but it looked kind of shady. It like the website, I tried to look for an address, I tried to look for customer service where you'd mail things. There was none. I couldn't find a location where they're at. It just had that look of like you had this in stock, but that's a lot of money to put down on a company I've never really heard of and doesn't have a whole lot of activity. So yeah, when it comes to that kind of knife, I want to make sure I get it from somewhere that seems more reputable or well known. But that would be cool if I can get that. I would be so excited. Very cool. Well, thanks for the heads up. All right, so what else? What are all the next big things? What about Blade Show? What do you think is going to be the biggest thing that's coming out at Blade Show? You guys have any idea yet? I mean, they've had some big releases this year already. There's been a lot of drops. Hey, 1 Minute Knife Review, you have a great night. Thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. Take care. Just so you know, we don't have to go all the way to 10 o'clock. I mean, if everyone's ready, if you guys are tired, I know it's a Monday. Sometimes that can be rough, but if I'm happy to talk for another half hour, but I don't want you guys to feel like you have to hang out here just to hang out, right? I appreciate it. I love talking knives. I can keep talking because Blade Show's coming up and I'm super excited. I can't wait to see what new things are coming out. Personally, I think Wee's going to have a couple more big ones that we don't know about. I wonder if the Alacran's going to be released like at the retailers on Blade Show, because I got the early release on this, and I know Javi said that this is supposed to be coming out in May or June, I thought, and it seemed like it'd be close to where Blade Show is, so that would be cool if they released this, or at least a version of it. I do know McNeese is supposed to be releasing the Tonto version of this one, so that will be interesting to see if that one comes out, right? So, kind of curious about that. I heard Tactile is supposed to be coming out with some new ones. Kind of curious about that. Did anybody do the pre-order for the big Tonto version that they had of this one? I forget what it was called. It wasn't quite my aesthetic, but it was different. It was definitely unique. What else? A button lock from Tactile. I could see that. That would be really good. And that would be something I think they could do well, because their precision and their tolerances would be outstanding for a good button lock. I mean, I think this is excellent. I think the phosphor bronze washers, once I polish them, this is going to be just a beautiful knife. Everything else is just ridiculously spot on for this knife. What about Spyderco? Or is anybody a big Tucson fan? Or a fan of, I don't know, what's some of the other ones that are pretty big that are coming out? Well, Civivi is supposed to have a few new ones that are supposed to be pretty good. I'm pretty excited about those. Sencut is supposed to be coming out with a new button lock one. I think that one's supposed to be pretty interesting. Kind of curious how that's going to come out. So I think those would all be really cool. I I would really be excited if if Imamba really released a new one, and I would be really excited to see if they did another variation of the Whippersnapper in one of their other versions, the larger ones, and did whatever they did in this one that worked so well over the version 1. Because whatever they did in version 2, from everything I've heard from everybody, I got version 2 and I love it. It's beautiful, right? But I've heard version 1 is not quite as nice as this, and I wonder if they're going to do a version 2 of one of the other ones. That would be really cool. Oh, Quiet Carry's supposed to be coming out with a new one too at some point. They're supposed to be coming out with a new knife, completely new knife as well. I'm wondering if they're going to drop that at the Blade Show or around the time of the Blade Show. That would be interesting. But that's about all I can think of. Benchmade, you know, their new version that looked really cool but was like $560. I can't do that. I get it's expensive to make USA made, but if you're not going to make something that's, you got to put some more quality things in there to demand that price. To me, that just seems a little high. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, but that seems awfully high. But that's just me. I mean, I like Benchmade, don't get me wrong. I like Benchmade priced well. Well, I think it's that time. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up because I think I'm going to need to go eat some food. It's kind of late. We had the giveaway. I think everyone's probably had a tiring Monday. It's been exciting. I've really enjoyed the live stream. I have enjoyed the time that we've had here. Thank you so much for you guys for being part of this and subscribing. This channel is growing, and we keep growing, and I keep getting blown away, and I'm amazed. And I am so close on those 4,000 hours. We are less than 700 hours away from breaking 4,000 hours, which means the channel gets monetized. And once that happens, that's going to help the channel to do more things. And I'm really looking forward to that. So we'll see how that happens. So I really appreciate you guys. I really do. I appreciate every one of you guys being a part of the channel, being here for the live streams, being part of here for the giveaways, and just watching the videos and interacting. I appreciate all the comments. I don't know if you know, I do try to comment to reply to everybody's comment. I really do, because that's something I want to be available and answer questions, and appreciate everyone who wants to share their experiences, because I learn from you guys probably more than anything you might learn from me. I really feel that way. So thank you. With all that being said, you guys have a great night, and thank you so much for being out here, and I'm going to sign off. And I will do my knife salute to you with my hand away so I don't cut myself, and I'll say, you guys have a nice night. So good night to y'all. Bye.